fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
Where callers won't be canceled.
It's just so ridiculous and so offensive.
And we don't socially distance from differing opinions.
I couldn't disagree with you more.
I haven't always agreed with you.
Free speech is alive and well in America, right here.
This country is worth fighting for.
That's why we're canceling those season tickets. That's why we're canceling those subscriptions.
I'm just so sick and tired of it.
Disgust us.
It's insanity, man.
This is News Talk STL.
We have real scandals to cover, real new news that nobody else will ever cover.
Greg Gutfeld at 10.
Probably should end on that note, huh?
Fox News Primetime. Weeknights on Fox News. America is watching.
A deeper dive into the major and controversial stories of the day. This is the Fox News Rundown. More coming up.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
At 4:20, we'll speak with the Heritage Foundation's Dakota Wood on the situation in Israel. And at 4:40, Adam Schwadron, state representative, makes a special announcement.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Are you wanting to improve the look and efficiency of your home? Well, one of the best and easiest ways you can do that, get some new windows. Window World, simply the best for less. You can give them a call today at 314-993-1800. Over 20 years in the business in the St. Louis area. Over 70,000 satisfied customers. That's because Window World uses double strength glass, gives it a strength not commonly used in replacement windows. They've got the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. They've got 18 months, same as cash financing. You can get them today. 314-993-1800, windowworld.com. That's windowworld.com.
Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Simplicity Wealth, LLC, SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance, consulting, and education services offered through Serenity Wealth Management.
Are you or someone you know providing or managing care for a loved one today? Did you know there could be more cost-efficient solutions for funding long-term care, even those currently living in a skilled care facility today? Financial strategist and long-term care specialist Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management can show you tax-efficient strategies available to help your family manage care concerns, whether planning for the future or managing care for a loved one today. Solutions exist to provide the financial peace of mind you deserve.
Hi, I'm Chris Cooper, and I'd love to send you a free copy of my new book, A CPA's Guide to Tax-Free Strategies for Long-Term Care. You'll learn about strategies to empower you and your family, protect your savings, and make sure your loved ones get the quality of care they deserve.
Request your free copy of Chris's book by visiting serenityltc.com. That's serenityltc.com.
Tony Colombo here with a great offer from Zero Res. Just mentioned the Colombo special. When you book a cleaning in October, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 plus $50 off an air duct cleaning. We've trusted Zero Res with our home for years, and 5,000 Google reviews with an average of 4.9 out of 5 says it all. Zero Res is the best when it comes to cleaning any surface in your home. Just remember to mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you thought booking your timeshare was difficult before, you know it's almost impossible now. For more than a decade, Lone Star Transfer has helped thousands of owners legally and permanently get out of their never-ending timeshare fees. Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. For free, no-obligation consultation, please call 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. On this Thursday, President Biden was 90 minutes late to deliver his address on the Hamas war. In the speech, he did not mention Iran, which is the driving force behind Hamas, supplying the terror group with weapons and money. Hamas does not have weapon-making capability. Some entity has to give the assassins rockets and guns so they can kill women and children. Now, CNN is reporting that Iran is not behind the Hamas attack, while the Wall Street Journal says it is. I'm throwing in with the Journal. If I'm wrong down the line, I will tell you. Now, the reason President Biden neglected to mention Iran is the same reason he doesn't confront Mexico over drug and people smuggling. The president is afraid. He does not want confrontation or problems of any kind. He looks away from the border madness, social disorder in the cities, high consumer prices for working Americans, on and on. In short, Joe Biden doesn't even try to solve problems because he really doesn't care about them. The worst president in American history, James Buchanan, operated the exact same way. While the South abused federal property and personnel leading up to the Civil War, Buchanan did absolutely nothing. Joe Biden will go down in history as the most progressive left president ever. In a troubled world, Joe Biden really doesn't want to engage. Back after this.
Every morning, the president wakes up to a top-secret brief on America's biggest challenges. Ever wished you were in the room? Of course you have. I'm Mike Baker, former CIA ops officer, and I'm here to give you the next best thing. Welcome to the President's Daily Brief podcast. Every weekday, I break down the day's most pressing issues in just 20 minutes. Get briefed. Stay ahead. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Dry and mild to get your Thursday rolling, turning warmer and breezy as the day goes on. Plenty of sunshine, though, a high of 81. That's about 10 degrees above normal. South wind at 10 to 20 this afternoon. Tonight, a slow increase in cloud cover as our next storm system approaches, down to 64. Rain and storms likely on Friday, and keep an eye on this. Some of these storms could be on the strong side, a low-end threat of some damaging wind. Friday's high 74 before colder air arrives for the weekend. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
What happens next?
Citizens of Israel, we are at war, not in an operation or in rounds, but at war.
Happens right here.
Hamas entered our communities. It was the worst nightmare ever.
250 Israelis are dead.
The next stage of this operation will be the response.
And let's make no mistake, this is an Iranian-backed assault and war.
101.9 and 94.1.
My administration's support for Israel's security is rock solid and unwavering.
News Talk STL. Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
The House Republicans pick Steve Scalise, and a radical cleric is calling for a worldwide day of protest, rage, and anti-Israeli action. Yeah, there's a lot going on. We will talk about that throughout the morning. Good morning. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of this Thursday for you. I'm Mike Ferguson. There's a really, really cool event coming up tonight, and it's, yes, for the politically minded, but also it's the chance to meet two of our statewide elected officials in person and actually ask them questions. Our friends at the St. Louis City Republicans are hosting that town hall, which, like I said, happens tonight starting at 6:30. And Chair Mary Teresa McLean and also one of their committeemen, Kirk Hilsinger, joined us in studio on Wednesday to kind of give us a preview of the event and also of some of the changes that they're trying to make in the city of St. Louis. Here's how that conversation went. The focus of the conversation, I mean, I'm sure we're going to touch on a lot of different issues. I'm going to attend. I'm not actually doing anything in the event, but I'm going to be there.
Fantastic.
It's going to, yeah. So what, if you had to summarize what's going to kind of be the takeaways, what can people expect if they come out to this?
I fully expect that people will leave feeling better than when they walked in.
See, that's really fascinating that you say that, because there's so much doom and gloom in the city of St. Louis right now.
Well, there's doom and gloom. I mean, all around us, all over the globe, and that is from day one of us brainstorming about this town hall, which was way back in the early spring. Our goal was that if we didn't feel like we could put a town hall together, that when people came, when they left, they felt better than when they walked in the door, that we weren't going to do it. And so that's every decision we made was all about that.
Kirk, what's going to make people feel better about this? Because you're going to talk about tough stuff. There's going to be things that people say, we have got to fix stuff. We've got to do better on stuff. So what is it that's going to give people, maybe, is it a sense of hope, or what is it that you think people are going to walk away from?
I think the fact that we're going to be having people at the state level showing an interest in what's happening in the city of St. Louis, which we really haven't had that much. We've got Andrew Bailey, and we've got also Jay Ashcroft there. So, having them come from Jefferson City and take time out of their busy schedule to show up and listen to people, I think is going to be really helpful.
So I'm assuming there are some people out there who we managed to convince already to go to this thing. They're going to walk into the doors. What are they going to find at the event?
Number one, they're going to come to the registration table. They're going to submit their question if they have one. And I hope that we have so many questions that we can't answer them all. That's, of course, we want them all answered.
I mean, listen, you need to give Chris something to do. He's going to go off and get in trouble.
Yes, he's going to be a great moderator, and he's going to be the one asking the questions from the submitted questions. So when people show up, that's the first thing. They're going to come to the registration table. They're going to be met by happy people. They're going to have a chance to submit their question there. They're going to go in, find themselves a seat, and then we're going to get started promptly at 6:30 and get the party started.
And we're going to get the where.
Definitely.
We're going to get to that here in just a couple of minutes. David Stokes from the Show Me Institute. David does great work studying what happens in municipalities. He does look at what happens in Kansas City and Columbia, but he has a particular interest on St. Louis because David lives here, and we have David on the show quite a bit. What's David's role?
I expect that there's going to be several questions concerning the earnings tax. That's a hot bed of talk, and he's the one to answer those questions. So when people have that question, I want them directed to David Stokes.
Kirk, what are you most looking forward to at the event?
I am looking forward to answers about what happened with HB 702, which was moving police control back to Jefferson City. And I also want to, this is take-home test material for Andrew Bailey, but I want to make sure that he's watching the Board of Alderman bills that are coming through that seem to be in conflict with both our federal and our state constitution.
Talking about the gun control bills?
That and also 126, which would not pave the streets with gold, but something else. Yes.
Oh, that one.
Otherwise known as the unhoused Bill of Rights.
Yes.
Which is interesting. Since you're here, let me ask you about that.
Yeah.
Because Schweitzer, Alderwoman Schweitzer, has already said she does not like this, and it doesn't get much farther to the left than Schweitzer. I mean, maybe Megan Green and Sarah Jones, but she's pretty far out there. And she put out a statement yesterday saying she doesn't like this proposal. So I don't know what the head count is on that so-called homeless Bill of Rights or unhoused Bill of Rights, but one of the more vocal folks on the Board of Aldermen has already said, I'm out.
I think they've seen the polling numbers. There's been a lot of blowback in the city about this.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, because first of all, it doesn't actually address the problem. I mean, let's forget. I mean, as much as we point out, you are simply enabling people to continue really terrible behavior. It doesn't actually address the problem. So first, you're active here in the city of St. Louis. The events that you're having, you're drawing more and more people. People are now finding out you're here, you're active, you're not gadflies, you're actually working for solutions here. So let's talk about, some of the solutions. And with the homeless situation, it starts with what's causing all of this. I mean, you can't go to too many parts of St. Louis and not drive by at least the tents that are probably being handed out by somebody we all know.
Oh, I've seen a couch underneath one of the overpasses.
Like a full-on couch?
A full-on couch,
man cave underneath a
pretty much
a man cave.
Literal cave, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really curious as to where we're going with all this stuff too. But Gosh, I forgot my question.
Well, let me jump in. While you're coming back up with that, let's talk about the specifics.
I was distracted by all the poop in the street.
That's right. Where, just give out the where this is going to be. Sure. Let's give out where we can get more information. One of the first questions somebody's going to say, but I didn't sign up to get a ticket. I'm not on your guest list. Does any of that matter?
It's open to the public. No ticket required. It's free. It's come as you are. Come even if you don't have a question, but you want to hear what other people are asking. Mm-hmm. We want people there because that is a great way to bring cohesiveness and bring hope. There's strength in numbers, and we want numbers there. It is at 3710 Hampton. It's at the St. Louis Police Officers Association Hall. Street parking, so come. It starts at 6:30. We're going to get started right at 6:30, so come as early as 6 and get in there and get your seat.
Yeah, and mingle.
Definitely mingle. Yes, and let us know if you want us to keep in touch with you. We will. We'll keep you abreast of things that are happening as they unfold with the work of the committee. And if you cannot be there. If you just cannot be there, but you want to submit a question, go to stlouisrepublicans.com. Right there on the homepage at the top, there are 3 buttons. You can submit a question to Jay Ashcroft, our Secretary of State, submit a question to Andrew Bailey, our Attorney General, or submit a question to David Stokes, Director of Municipal Policy at Show Me Institute. And we'll get those questions and we'll make sure that they are submitted. So there's no reason, even if you cannot be there, there's no reason that you cannot submit a question.
Right. So jumping off from the surprising opposition, I guess, coming from the left to that unhoused Bill of Rights thing and obviously the bad polling numbers, you would think that with such a blue bill, right, it's hitting all the notes for those things that it would have some blue support, but we're actually seeing some defections, right?
And there might be plenty of blue support for it, too.
There is some, obviously, but there's surprising, at least in my mind, surprising opposition coming from the blue side. Are you seeing any crossover, people kind of starting to dip their toe? You seeing any GOP curious people show up at your meetings?
Very, very much so. Didn't we talk about this last time?
Yes.
GOP curious. Did you register that.com?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
All right. We got to do something with that.
By the way, today is, I'm not making this up, today is National Coming Out Day. So if you are GOP curious,
yes, exactly.
This might be the day that you sit your folks down and say, listen,
just let them know.
I have something to tell you.
Yeah.
I used to think I was the only Republican that lived in the St. Louis. I was like that guy.
Right.
So anyway, sorry, I jumped in. I didn't even give a chance to answer Gabe's question there. So
what was your question?
Yeah, it's like GOP curious people, yes.
Oh, yes, we do. Yes, very much so. And we have people that will email, and it's not hordes of people, but we've had a few email, and then I'll get on the phone with them, and they'll say, I can't be seen there. I cannot be seen there, but I will help you. I will pass out literature. I'll make some phone calls, but I cannot have my name added to that because I will get fired.
Wow.
I hear that more than anything.
See,
I will lose my job.
Man.
Yeah.
Is that not only sad but kind of frightening?
Absolutely.
It really is. But that's where it's important to actually build something to where you are a player in the process and in the discussion to where you're big enough where that's not an issue, and that's going to take, you might be close to being there right now as it is. But yeah, that does not surprise me at all. There's no question that you all have momentum right now.
We have some serious, fantastic momentum going on.
A lot of growth. I've been to, 2 or 3 of your meetings to stop by. You've been nice enough to have me speak at a couple of them. Every time
we want you back.
I will.
Yeah, we want Gabe and we want Stell.
And every time I show up, there's more people there than there were the time before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a matter of just showing up and hanging out with friends, although there's a lot of that happens out there. There are people who are saying, all right, let's do this, let's fix things. And Kirk, you said in that last segment, you said, for a long time, I thought I was the only one. And I think, Mary Teresa, you and I probably over a year ago had some version of the conversation of if people just knew that there were conservatives, that there were big R Republicans, in the city who are actually working in tandem with each other and actually making a difference, because you actually are. I mean, you have people now being appointed to committees and commissions. You're getting a voice that the GOP has not had in a long time. So, Kirk, to your point, when you say, I thought I was the only one, who knows how many people around the city are right now going, I thought I was the only one?
This is true, because when I was invited to come to the committee with a friend of mine, I mean, he was kind of nervous because he didn't understand what it would be like. And I think that the Democrats do a very good job of trying to discourage Republicans or even common sense Democrats in this city that are not about this very far left agenda that the Board of Aldermen and the mayor seems to be shoving down our throats. And what we need to do is, not only do we need to get these people involved, but if they have conflicts of their own life, and everybody has their personal life, we need to encourage them to go to the polls every election they can and vote. You know, they think that, what's the use of voting? I'm just going to get override by all the Democrats in the city of St. Louis. But there are still a lot of common sense Democrats that will vote against for some of these things that are on these ballots, or vote for the more sane of the candidate for the election, and we really need to encourage them to do that, because we are strength in numbers.
Well, let me also point out that in the last election, one of your members made it through the primary.
Yes.
Phil Menendez.
Yeah.
I don't think that even, and I tried to stress this the last time I spoke at y'all's meeting, I tried to stress, I hope you all understand how big of a deal that is.
Yes, that was a huge deal.
Yeah.
And it was a win in and of itself.
Oh, absolutely.
Even though he didn't get the seat to make it through that brick wall of now what we have is ranked choice voting to make it through there, because that ranked choice voting is specifically designed. There's a lot of people who argue with this, but people that are common sense will say it really looks like it is designed to just keep Democrats
right.
in
Oh, yeah.
office.
Yeah, somebody could argue against it. That just means that they would be wrong.
Right. Yeah. But Phil broke through that, Phil Menendez. And you talk about a fighter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah, Phil's an awesome guy.
He's ready to go back at it.
Okay,
because he loves the city. And and I'd like to mention this, and that is, to our knowledge, this is history, because we cannot find a record of this ever happening in the city of St. Louis, that the Republican Party has put on a town hall with both the Attorney General and the Secretary of State in the same room, answering questions live.
So a lot of connections to be made. Thursday, 6:30 to 7:30, but like you said, get there earlier. This is at the St. Louis Police Officers Association, 3710 Hampton. All of the information at St. Louis Republicans, stlouisrepublicans.com. All right,
it's
Mary
all there.
Teresa.
Yep. Thank you so much.
You got it. Mary Teresa, Kirk, good to see you all again. Thank you so much. The News Roundup comes your way here in just about 2 minutes and 27 seconds right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Anytime.
It happens
anywhere. Everywhere.
Every day continues to bring more news
with the News Talk STL app. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
St. Louis City, get ready to make history. Your City, Your Voice Town Hall is here, and it's more than you've ever seen before. Imagine this: Attorney General Andrew Bailey and Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft in person, side by side, hearing your concerns, taking on your burning questions. It's October 12th. Rally your neighbors. Come and ask the questions that keep you awake at night. Visit stlouisrepublicans.com for details.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
I heard the call to serve, so I answered. I earned a title and discovered my purpose. I found belonging, an unbreakable bond with my fellow Marines. We fought to overcome adversity together in defense of our nation and its people. I've lived a full life, rich with meaning. And even though I no longer wear the uniform, I am still a Marine. My service has come full circle. I will always look after those around me. I will always uplift and support my country and my community. Because that is the promise I made. That is what it means to be a Marine. Semper Fidelis. Always faithful, always Marine.
This news update brought to you by Anton's Plumbing and HVAC. Call Anton's at 314-338-3941 or visit them at antonshvac.com.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Tune in to us at 8 p.m. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
Okay, so the GOP caucus picks a new speaker, but a small number of holdouts is blocking a vote to actually make it happen.
Maybe it's just a speed bump.
Let's hope so. This is just stupid at this point. But then again, we actually yesterday worried still like, well, will they just make this easy, pick your speaker, and then everybody unify and vote? Or will they do what Republicans do and do the circular firing squad?
Well, you know what? Democracy can be ugly at times. So maybe we'll see what happens
This
here.
is ugly and stupid is what it is. I mean, there's just no excuse for it. I mean, it's just dumb. And some of the reasons that some of these Republican Congress members are giving is just ridiculous. Also, a Muslim cleric who is a co-founder of Hamas is calling for a worldwide day of action against Israel and Jewish people this week. We'll talk about that. Another part of the city's homeless Bill of Rights plan is running into opposition in St. Louis. That should not really surprise a lot of people. Okay, let's start with the update on what's happening with Israel trying to defend herself against the attackers. War rages on between Israel and Hamas. Looks like at least 2,100 Israelis and Palestinians have been killed so far as Israel is now setting up for a ground war. Spokesperson for the Prime Minister, the spokesperson's name is Tal Heinrich. She was on the story with Martha McCallum and says Israel is absolutely going to win. This has been one of those days already. I'm telling you, my computer is not working right.
We'll do a little plug-in.
There we go. We'll do it this way. All right, here is Tal Heinrich, who, man, what a way to start the show. Tal Heinrich, who is, again, the spokesperson for the Prime Minister in Israel.
They will pay a very heavy price, a price that will reverberate in the near future and will be remembered by the next generations. They will not try us again after we're done with this operation. And the Prime Minister has said it will take as long as it takes.
They are aware that they're going to get worldwide condemnation for just existing and defending themselves. And Israel seems incredibly determined, and that's exactly what they should do. The question is going to be, how determined will our nation be and other nations around the country, around the world, rather. Yeah. Okay, the House Republican caucus has picked a speaker, but true to GOP form, a handful of holdouts is stopping Steve Scalise from being formally elected. He needs 217 votes from the 221 Republicans, but 7 are holding things up for a variety of reasons. Jim Jordan, who lost the conference vote to Scalise, he's asking his colleagues to just say, okay, let's unify and vote for Steve Scalise. He is in full support of him. He's not one of the holdouts, but a smattering of others are, I guess, deciding that they want to be whatever. They're just ridiculous. Kentucky now affected by the United Auto Workers union strike. They've ordered workers off the job where the F-Series pickup trucks are made. That's adding another 8,700 workers to the strike. The almost month-long strike now involves about 34,000 workers plus thousands more who are laid off as victims of the shutdowns. Among the demands made by the union, just to remember, massive raises, workloads reduced to part-time hours, and guaranteed pension and health benefits for members for life.
And keep one other thing in mind. If you need work done on your automobile, don't be surprised when you go to the dealership. Folks who will not cross the picket line are not coming to work. And I had a situation yesterday. Sorry, we can't book you for 5 weeks at least.
Is that because mechanics want, or because the parts factories are shut down because of the strikes?
My suspicion is that it's probably the union mechanics are saying, we're not going to come to work if our fellow union guys are on strike.
Then go to Telly or Dobbs, because they'll fix it.
Yeah,
you can punish us. If there's a mechanic shop that's that stupid, punish them right away. You can go get in somewhere
to another
else.
Place. Sure,
yeah, absolutely. All right, let's see here. What else? I don't have time for all these stories here. The American League Championship Series is set. Astros are back in again after their 3-2 win over Minnesota last night. This is the 6th or 7th straight year the Astros have been in the American League Championship Series. Unbelievable. In the National League, the Diamondbacks completed the sweep of the Dodgers, 4-2. They advanced to the League Championship Series there. Diamondbacks are going to play either the Braves or the Phillies. Philly leads that series 2-1. Game 4 is tonight at 7:07, so they could settle that tonight, or it could go another couple of days as well. All right, let's go Blues.
Yeah.
Let's go Blues.
Let's do it.
Season starts tonight. They are starting on the road. The Blues are in Dallas to play the Stars. Puck drops at 7 o'clock on this one. What do you think? Hopeful, or given how the season ended last year, a little bit, we'll see.
No, I'm always hopeful.
Yes.
When the season starts.
They made some decent moves in the offseason. I mean, I understand getting rid of Tarasenko and some of the really big-name players at the end to kind of load up on youth for this year. So, you know what? Let's give them a month and see where it's at. But the front office seems real serious about this season. See how it goes.
Get charged up on the truth. Power Punch with Larry Behrens.
Everyone's talking about the $6 billion Joe Biden sent to Iran just about a month ago. As well they should be. But did you know he has opened up the money flow to Tehran for well over a year? He doesn't want to talk about it, but we will.
Power Punch with Larry Behrens. Saturday afternoons at 4 on News Talk STL.
Get more Power Punch at powertofuture.com.
Classic Kicks Country is streaming now. Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s. I should have been a cowboy. Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks.
Let's go, girls.
Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at ClassicKicks.com. I'll go back. Or enable the Classic Kicks skill on Alexa.
I love this station.
90s new country streaming now.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Then here's a great idea. Donate your car and help veterans and their families. Yes, one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program and we'll come and remove your car for free. Fast, free towing, and 24-hour response. You can donate most cars, trucks, or SUVs in most conditions. The proceeds raised goes to help active military, veterans, and their families, and you get a tax deduction. All you need to do is make this free call. Get rid of that old car and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now and book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Donation Program now. Donate your car and help veterans and their families. Operators are standing by. Here's the number.
800-925-1596. 800-925-1596. 800-925-1596. That's 800-925-1596.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Israel and Hamas continue trading rocket fire as hundreds of thousands of Israeli troops mass on the Gaza border ahead of an expected Israeli ground offensive. Correspondent Joseph Krause says Israel promises to crush and destroy the terrorists.
As the war has escalated, the total death toll now stands at more than 2,200 killed on both sides, and it shows no signs of slowing down. Israel's defense minister has said that it will continue to escalate its offensive against Gaza, against Hamas in Gaza.
The death toll is approximately 2,500, 22 Americans among the dead, 17 others unaccounted for. Secretary of State Blinken is in Israel for talks with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Tomorrow, Blinken will sit down with Palestinian President Abbas. Meeting with American Jewish leaders at the White House, President Biden declares that the U.S. has Israel's back. Previously, the president approved the release of $6 billion in frozen assets to Israel's arch-enemy, Iran. Republican Senators Tom Cotton and Mitch McConnell drafting a bill to try to claw back that money. Steve Scalise, one step closer to winning the Speaker's gavel. The Louisiana Republican has been nominated for the post of House Speaker. The actual vote has yet to take place.
First, I want to thank my House Republican colleagues for just designating me as the Speaker. Obviously, we still have work to do. We're going to have to go upstairs on the House floor and resolve this and then get the House opened again. We have a lot of work to do.
Ohio's Jim Jordan, the other leading contender for the Speaker's job, has thrown his support behind Scalise. 8,700 auto workers have walked off the job at Ford's truck plant in Kentucky. On Wall Street this morning, Dow futures are up 117 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 55. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
From director Kevin Sorbo comes Miracle in East Texas. During the Great Depression, 2 aging con men peddling shares in worthless oil wells find more than they're looking for.
Lotharians. He's talking about you.
A tale of hope and redemption.
A true hand-to-God miracle is what it is.
Miracle in East Texas. Starring Kevin Sorbo, John Ratzenberger, Sam Sorbo, and Louis Gossett Jr. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. In theaters October 29th and 30th only. Go to Miracle in East Texas.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Dry and mild to get your Thursday rolling, turning warmer and breezy as the day goes on. Plenty of sunshine, though, a high of 81. That's about 10 degrees above normal. South wind at 10 to 20 this afternoon. Tonight, a slow increase in cloud cover as our next storm system approaches, down to 64. Rain and storms likely on Friday, and keep an eye on this. Some of these storms could be on the strong side, a low-end threat of some damaging wind. Friday's high 74 before colder air arrives for the weekend. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
The ultimate tribute to the Beatles brings you their best show ever. The Fab Four live. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. The Fab Four performs the Beatles' Rubber Soul in its entirety, plus all the Beatles' greatest hits. Don't miss the show for the whole family. Witness the best Beatles show in the world. Saturday, October 21st, the Family Arena. Reserve seats on sale now at Ticketmaster.
His legendary soulful voice is unmistakable. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee Al Green returns to the concert stage. A night of iconic hits from the 13-time Grammy Award winner Al Green with special guest Betty LaVette. Saturday, November 25th at the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena and Ticketmaster.
The news and talk that affects St. Louis.
They've got nothing on Joe Biden.
This is an embarrassment to the time and people of this country.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
If we had a box of all the foreign money the Bidens took, it would have reached to the ceiling.
News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
We have a hope.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
What do you call a genius in President Biden's Homeland Security Department? A visitor.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
So how much of a threat is a Muslim cleric's call for a day of action against Israel and Jewish people around the world?
I would say it's pretty serious.
Yeah, we're going to get into this a little bit more depth as far as how do we react to this? How should we react to it? You cannot dismiss this. To your point, still, you cannot dismiss this. All right, it's 6:06. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here as well. So one of the founders of Hamas, and he's named Khalid Mashal, I think is how you say it. He is asking Muslims all around the world to target Israel, Israel's interest, and frankly, Jewish people. He's specifically calling for Muslims in all the neighboring countries essentially to raid Israel's borders, asking them to die.
Yes.
Literally asking them to die.
Mm-hmm.
And also asking for donations from all over the world to Hamas, what he's calling a financial jihad. And of course, he's asking, basically for action against anything that has to do with Israel, which would be the Jewish people all over the world. So this is a very quick escalation, obviously, of this entire war that Hamas has started against Israel. So the question, I think we're going to go into this a little more depth at 620, guys, but initial reaction to this, because I've seen reactions, everything from, okay, keep an eye out to, oh my goodness, don't go into large groups anywhere in the world, and expect terrorist attacks all over the world, expect terrorism in the United States. And I don't think it's going to be that extreme, but I'm also not naive enough to make predictions on anything to that nature. So when you hear this call, what's your reaction to it?
Generally speaking, it worries me just because, the spontaneous pro-Gaza demonstrations we've seen around the world have all been just horrific in the language that they were using. And we're talking about mass groups of people in major cities, all supported by various subgroups in high-level areas in academia and in the media. So there are a lot of people who have just come out of the woodwork and said, you know what, bravo. They saw the rapes and the killings and they heard about the baby beheadings and all this and they're given their standing ovation. Yeah. Gas the Jews, as they said in Sydney. So that suggests that we're only a couple steps from taking actual action in these Western nations. So it definitely worries me.
I heard what happened in Sydney and the comment about gassing the Jews. And for me, having been around for a few years, I've seen that the statement come from the higher-ups in, actually both Hamas and Hezbollah. They're not friends with each other, but I've always heard the statement about we go after the Saturday people first and then the Sunday people. Mm-hmm. And that really that bothers me a lot. And you mentioned academia, Gabe. We're going to see a lot of protests on Friday at various campuses around the nation.
Yeah, I think there will be a lot of those protests in reaction and response to it. I mean, I think you're going to see, not just in the U.S., but in other places, people are literally going to be responding to a terrorist call for support. And you are going to see that in the U.S., which, by the way, later on today, we need to talk about how do we get to where you've got these brainwashed people on university and college campuses. That's got to come from somewhere. Could it come from the K through 12 indoctrination centers?
You think?
As well? Yeah,
I think for college campuses, although you're right, it would be instituted early on in their
Yeah.
lives, but for sure the academia on the collegiate level is pushing it.
Absolutely unreal. I mean, there's been one major university president who has responded appropriately and called out what needs to be called out. That's University of Florida system, and that's former U.S. Senator Ben Sasse. You know, of course, he's smarter than the average bear, and he made a lot of people mad on his campus. But you know, he's the one who's pushing back against all of this other academic, academia nonsense. I mean, because there's a lot of people in academia who are otherwise completely unemployable. And so this is how they can make a living, and they get to be as angry and agitative as they want.
Speaking of employment, there are a number of CEOs who specifically asked for the names of the members of those groups at Harvard so they cannot hire them.
Good.
Good. There was a tweet storm of various CEOs of various sized businesses all saying, "Yeah, send the list."
Yes.
And speaking of Harvard, Alan Dershowitz was on Hannity the other night and said that I think his lecture was canceled at Harvard. And he taught there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we see where this is going.
Yeah.
Right. Now, as far as, are there going to be terrorist attacks in the United States? I don't know. I mean, again, I am not arrogant or naive enough to be able to say I can tell you what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
I don't know. Terrorist attacks typically are very, very well planned out, but a bunch of angry young people can try to overrun something or throw Molotov cocktails or something like that. I mean, your Antifa types and things like that. I mean, they could do something. So, I think you use common sense as far as avoiding extra situations, but at the same time, every time they make a threat, do we change how we live here in the United States? Because that's part of the effect of terrorism that they want.
Yeah, I think we go back to the if you see something, say something sort of directive that we had before, but get back to your life. Because, as you said, their goal is for us to be cowering in our homes every day.
Yeah. Now, I do, for instance, I do think it is absolutely imperative that law enforcement around synagogues throughout the entire country needs to be stepped up.
Yes.
Whether it's just additional patrols, hey, stay closer to the synagogues, whether, the synagogues, I mean, almost every church of any size now hires law enforcement, off-duty law enforcement to be security, or they hire security companies. You just have to do that now. I mean, the Rachel's Church, where we go on Sundays, they've got off-duty University City police officers in there.
I think most churches do.
Most of them do. If they're of any size, they can afford it. They absolutely have to do it with the synagogues. And I think that on-duty police should stick closer to the synagogues in the St. Louis area and everywhere else as well, because at some point, I do think there's probably going to be some kind of attack.
Well, we can't be naive enough to think that there aren't folks coming across a wide-open southern border that have ill intents in this country.
I mean, how many who are already on the terrorist watch list have been caught?
Yeah.
And others that we know that have gotten through. So absolutely, which is one of the things that we've been, saying, and I say we, I mean conservative media, have been saying for years. The next attack is coming, and you're literally opening the door to let the people who are likely to conduct that attack into the country. We know they are here. We know it.
Yeah. When you see lines of thousands of illegal aliens at the border, and they're all men, you see very few women and children these days. They're all men of military fighting age, which is a bit scary. They're all folks in their 20s.
Yeah, and speaking of the synagogues, we know what a lone gunman can do in those places, right? We've seen that recently. So I wouldn't put it past somebody to be inspired by this, to do at least something like that as a sort of mini terrorist attack in solidarity with what's going on in Gaza.
That could happen anywhere at any time. Don't think we're immune from it here. There's a very, very large, very active, very vibrant Jewish community in St. Louis. I mean, we've got one of the larger Holocaust museums here. The J was full last night at a community meeting, kind of a meeting. Not really a meeting, but just a way of people
get together
in the Jewish
for
community
support each other.
Yeah, so a support gathering, and just people remind each other that they're not alone. That place was full. If you saw the pictures and the video of it. Real quick here, the unhoused Bill of Rights, another aspect of that, running into resistance around St. Louis.
Okay.
So remember, part of that suggestion was to do away with the part of the city ordinances that say 51% of people who live within 500 feet of a proposed homeless shelter have to sign off and agree to allow it.
Right.
So, well, guess what happens? Nobody wants to allow it.
Of course.
Why would you? I mean, why would you want that? So essentially what people are saying is, yeah, we really got to do something about this homelessness problem, but not here.
Not in my backyard.
Yes.
Put it somewhere else.
Exactly.
And a lot of times I kind of scoff at the NIMBYs, not in my backyard, folks. On this one, I'm just thinking, I wouldn't sign off on that.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't want it. So look for other proposals. And so part of what the city is looking to do is just simply throw that requirement out, change some zoning, and just allow the city to say, you know what, we're putting a homeless shelter here. Or you know what, there's a building that's not being used right now. We're just going to open up that as a homeless shelter and not give neighborhoods any say in that. And not surprisingly, there's a lot of neighborhood associations who are saying, no, we got a problem with this. We don't like this. But whether or not they'll be able to stop it remains to be another thing.
Aren't there kind of like entirely abandoned areas of the city?
Oh, sure.
Just how about there?
Absolutely.
I mean, at that point, you can find a spot that's significantly far enough away from another neighborhood. As hollowed out as the city is, we could probably find a corner here.
Well, hey, how many businesses have left the city? I mean,
Exactly.
matter of fact, you know what? Here at Union Station, the powerhouse is going to be mostly empty here in about another month and a half.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
When we leave.
Yep.
You know what?
Punching out.
Doesn't matter to me what you do with the place here after we leave. So,
Have
but
at it.
I don't blame the neighbors for saying, nope, not a chance.
Yeah.
All right, 314-912-1019. Still here. The right and wrong ways to respond to this call for terrorism. We touched on that just now. Are you planning to alter anything, at least for tomorrow, Friday the 13th, when this radical Muslim cleric is calling on all Muslims and calling on, I guess, Muslim sympathizers to take action against Israel, her interest, and frankly, Jewish people all over the world? How do we react to that? Let's talk about that in more depth right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
This is Diana with Newstetter's Fine Jewelry. This year we're celebrating 50 years in business. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your lives for over half a century. It's because of you that our small family business thrives in St. Louis. From our family to yours, thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
This is Mariah, third generation at Newstetter's Fine Jewelry. Buying an engagement ring can be intimidating. At Newstetter's, we ensure complete understanding of your purchase. We offer a choice in both lab and mine-grown diamonds and are able to work with any budget. Let our family help educate you on your choice at Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
Car and Driver magazine says the 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser is cool and affordable. 2024 Toyotas are showing up every day, ready for immediate delivery at Ackerman. In fact, Toyota has awarded Ackerman more vehicles than all competitors. Check it out yourself at Ackerman Toyota, Hampton and Interstate 44, or online, AckermanToyota.com. Ackerman Toyota will get you the best deal. Ackerman Toyota, for life.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. I love to grill and definitely prefer using charcoal over gas. And ever since I met Jonathan Heslop and he introduced me to his product, Rockwood Lump Charcoal, I can't use anything else. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory and has been the nationally highest consumer-ranked charcoal for several years. So you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. Doesn't get any better than that. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
This Saturday night at 10 on Stories of New Americans.
I'm joined by Frances Summerhoff from Australia originally.
My mum came over later. She came over already married to my dad. They got married by proxy.
Wow.
So my mum was in Madeira and my dad was in Perth, Western Australia, and they got married, like by radio, I guess. So my dad had a stand-in bride and my mum had a stand-in groom.
Stories of New Americans. Saturday nights at 10 on News Talk STL.
Now, the Onder Prescription with Dr. Bob Onder.
I'm Dr. Bob Onder. The winter flu season is coming fast, and headlines decry falling vaccination rates for pretty much everything. COVID vaccine rates for adults fell from 80% in 2021 to 20% in 2022. But not only COVID, flu vaccine rates fell as well, and most disturbingly, rates of vaccination for childhood diseases fell. This is tragic. Since 20 to 60,000 Americans die every year from influenza, and childhood infections like measles, polio, and pertussis can be devastating. Why declining vaccination rates? I believe the fault lies firmly with the so-called public health authorities, especially the CDC and NIH, that have repeatedly lied to us. They've lied about masks, about COVID vaccine safety and efficacy, and about the origins of the COVID virus. They conspired with other branches of government to suppress open debate and sharing of data. If the government wants us to trust them again about health issues, they're going to have to re-earn that trust. I'm Dr. Bob, and that's my prescription.
Find more Dr. Bob Onder at bobondermo.com. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, the right and wrong ways to respond to the calls for and the threats of terrorism. What should our mindset be, basically? It is 6:21 right now. Got Gabe here, got Stell here. I'm Mike. Don't forget to News Talk STL social media. Man, we've got a lot of content out there, so be sure to subscribe, connect with us, follow whatever the platform calls for, and let your friends know about it as well. I started to see responses to the cleric's threat, or demand for threats on yesterday. Red State, for instance, Brandon Morris wrote an article. Beware, former Hamas leader Khalid Mashal calls for a global display of Palestinian anger on Friday. And following up, because you had seen a couple of snippets of this right before the end of the show yesterday.
Yeah.
And I found a couple others. American Military News report Hamas calls for global jihad, attack Jews worldwide on Friday. Daily Signal, Hamas issues a call to arms in support of Gaza jihad. And so this is something, and I'm reading the Red State article now. It is a speech from this former Hamas leader. He's really one of the co-founders of Hamas, encouraging Muslims and Palestinian supporters to display their anger and begin pro-Palestinian demonstrations on Friday while begging for donations for Hamas to continue its war against Israel. Now, Reuters also reporting on this, that he primarily aimed his speech at those living in the Arab and Islamic world, but it's not just for them as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think in his remarks, there are calls for the Islamic diaspora in the Western world to actually participate in this as well. So, and like I said before, we've seen these things. They spontaneously showed up, shortly after the news of the attacks broke. So I imagine something's going to happen around, some near where you live, wherever you are.
Around the world or around here in the U.S.?
In the U.S. as well, around the world. I think Again, if you live in Australia, if you live in England, especially England, London's basically an Islamic town now. Basically.
Yeah, they made the mistake. I mean, if you want to know what's wrong with open borders, look what happened there.
Yeah. And if you are in these places, you are not immune from what's going to happen, whatever that is, on Friday.
So here's the question then is, I don't know what's going to happen. None of us know.
No.
For sure. How do we mentally address it? Do we change how we live here in the U.S.? Because remember, one of the effects that terrorists want to have is to have people live in fear. The root word of terrorism is terror,
right?
Which means you are scared whether or not they do anything to you. So where's that line between I'm going to ignore them and live my life and not let them affect anything about me, but knowing that could be a risk?
Yeah, you know, I view it the same as I did on 9/12, right? It's like, well, we can't be blind to the notion that there are people who live among us who would like to see us brought down. Who would, if they got a chance or if they were instructed to, would take a knife to your throat. That reality, I think, is something that those of us who haven't forgotten, I guess, 9/11 have lived with the entire time. It's the if you see something, say something mentality. So that continued vigilance needs to be rediscovered, I think, by a lot of people. But other than that, you can't simply turn off life, right? You can't stop the world from spinning. So yes, absolutely. I'm going to continue, adding planks of wood to my basement to try and make my life a little better. I'm not going to say, oh no, I need to invest all my money in emergency rations and ammo because it's about to hit the fan and oh my gosh, I'm going to continue living my life.
Yeah, and terrorist attacks often take a lot of planning.
Yes.
So this call, if it's not heeded tomorrow by, think of other terrorist organizations that are sympathetic. Antifa is a terrorist organization. You could argue that elements of Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization. And they have clearly, in many of their chapters, made it very clear that they stand with Hamas, that they are anti-Israeli, they are anti-Semitic.
They have common cause with the people who commit the terrorism. So therefore, in my mind, they're terrorists too.
Now, I don't think there's going to be some officially sanctioned Black Lives Matter terrorist attack anywhere. That's not
exactly
what I'm saying. Antifa, sure, because they are a violent organization.
Yeah, it's built in.
Yeah, that's part of who and what they are. That's their tactic. So whether something happens or not, eventually something will, for whatever reason. We know that we're going to be attacked again. There wouldn't be such a coordinated effort to get people from terror-sponsoring nations into the United States if there weren't something coming. So I'm like you, Gabe, is I'm not going to alter my life for that. I mean, I've altered my life as far as coming to downtown St. Louis because the crime is out of control, but I'm not going to alter it and stop going to daytime Cardinals games because I'm worried about a terrorist attack on a mass gathering of people at Busch Stadium.
Right.
Again, if the Cardinals have another season like they did last year, there won't be any mass gatherings of people at Busch Stadium. There'll be smatterings of people at Busch Stadium.
Yeah.
Because we've run out of really cool people to retire at the end of the year. That's why it attracted a lot of people.
Ultimately.
Yeah. But, in all seriousness, though, I mean, this is part of the effect they want to have. And, I've heard some very big names, very smart people who are saying, take this absolutely seriously, don't fly tomorrow. I've heard people say.
Take the day off, basically.
Yeah, take the day off. Avoid any sort of large gathering of people out in public. And they're going to kind of that other extreme. And I didn't have any plans to go into some big group of people tomorrow. That just wasn't in my to-do list. I mean, I just didn't have anything on the schedule. My wife is flying back tomorrow. She's going to be in the air tomorrow. She's on the air. She's in the air right now. And so there's, that's happening, but we can't alter our lives for that. If there's some imminent warning that's issued, okay, well, we might take some precautionary measures, but we are living in a world where these threats are going to come over and over and over again, especially as Israel's military and Israel's war prowess has been reawakened by these terrorists, by these Muslim terrorists. And so this is the way the world's going to be. There are going to be constant calls for this. There's going to be a sympathetic media in the United States, and you see them already trying to creep away. They've been forced into basically acknowledging Israel as reacting justly.
Yes.
They've had to admit that. immediately they're trying to change the narrative away from that, and they're trying to be sympathetic towards, and you're going to hear them say the words Hamas less and Palestinians more.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
And we're seeing that already.
Civilians killed in Gaza is going to be the main headlines going forward, essentially.
Right. And, over time, as this wears on, they will point to Israel as the aggressors, even though Israel is the respondent. And Israel's made it very clear that all of their history, they are surrounded by countries who want them gone. And so they know that if you are going for a fight, that you do not win on points. You win by knockout.
Right.
And they are not going to stop until the threat is over.
Yeah, and the thing is, this stuff is ugly.
Yes.
Meting out justice is ugly.
Yeah.
If you remove all context and you look at these things, it's like, oh my gosh, how can you do this? To me, it's like if you've never heard, if you will not acknowledge the life-saving nature of an operation to remove a metastasized cancer cell, if you will not recognize that procedure is something that's necessary and actually saves a life, all you see is a butcher cutting into somebody with a knife.
Yeah, precisely. All right, 314-912-1019. All right, just ahead here, the Republicans in the U.S. House, they picked their speaker. They chose Steve Scalise in a fairly narrow vote. I think it was like a 99 to 113 or 114 or something like that. Jim Jordan says, we voted, I lost, he won, everybody get behind the guy who won. So Jim Jordan doing the right thing, but there are 7 Republicans, which is enough to hold up the whole thing. So we don't have a Speaker of the House, even though the Republicans have picked their person.
Oh, boy.
Former Missouri Republican Party Executive Director Gene Evans going to be with us in about 3.5 minutes right here to give us her take. She's been the director of a state party, so she's got some insight into how these things work. We'll get her take on that just ahead right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Dry and mild to get your Thursday rolling, turning warmer and breezy as the day goes on. Plenty of sunshine, though, a high of 81. That's about 10 degrees above normal. South wind at 10 to 20 this afternoon. Tonight, a slow increase in cloud cover as our next storm system approaches, down to 64. Rain and storms likely on Friday, and keep an eye on this. Some of these storms could be on the strong side, a low wind threat of some damaging wind. Friday's high 74 before colder air arrives for the weekend. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
Tim Jones here to announce the Professional Irrigation Systems is now Pro Outdoor. The change reflects their commitment to the innovation of the industry, expansion of services they offer that our family has used for years. Lawn fertilization, landscape maintenance, outdoor lighting, and of course, irrigation. Their commitment to their customers remains the highest priority. Same team, same awesome equipment, same quality of service you've come to know and love. To learn more about their services, including fall specials, call them 636-565-0196 or anytime 24/7 at ProOutdoor.com. That's ProOutdoor.com.
Getting a new floor for your home can be intimidating and a little scary. But that's not the case when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michael's, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michaels has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peters. Check out everything that Michaels has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Facts don't matter. Lies don't matter. You or I lie, we go to jail. She lies.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
It's just part of the business. President lies, it's part of his business. Joe Biden couldn't tell the truth if he could remember it. And then you got Hunter Biden, because he's a drug addict, because he's a gun criminal, because, posts pictures of himself with hookers and crack pipes and all that kind of stuff. Now that makes him somehow wonderful.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
On the next,
Larry Connors, USA.
The land invasion of the Gaza Strip is going to be costly. How many will end up dying?
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Hello, morning people. Tony Colombo and Katie Fitzpatrick here.
Thanks for listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL. And don't forget to join us today at 2 for Colombo and Katie.
See you then.
Okay, Republicans pick a speaker, yet they can't muster the votes to make it official. Which party's the majority in the U.S. House again?
Here we go.
What? For crying out loud. All right, social media and public school teachers. The saga of common sense going out the window continues.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that at 6:50. Got an update on this case that's not too far from St. Louis, where the teacher did the side hustle, shall we say?
Oh, that one.
Yeah, there's an update to that.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. All right, 6:35 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. We are now joined by Gene Evans, not only former Missouri State Representative, but former Executive Director of the Missouri Republican Party. So, Gene, you've had some experience trying to herd angry, individualistic cats in your career.
Hey, it's tough. I got to tell you, and there's and I'm sorry, there's some interference on our line, so I'm having a hard time. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine. Let's do this.
We can call you back.
Yeah, Stel, let's either put her on hold or reconnect with it so that you can hear me, okay? Because I really want to get your take on this. We're hearing you just fine, so it's obviously going the.
Oh, okay, let's go ahead. So, what people don't realize, I hear this uniparty call and people complaining about Kevin McCarthy. Majorities are won in swing districts. Mm-hmm. And the way they're won is people like Kevin McCarthy going out and raising the money and finding good candidates. And the reason we have a majority is because of Kevin McCarthy. Now, I've never been a huge McCarthy fan personally, but I respect what he's done, and I think that needs to continue. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But you have to have leaders who can go out and raise the funds to protect these seats, because you don't win majorities with deep red seats like the one Matt Gaetz is in. And this infighting is terrible for parties. It's terrible for raising money. It's terrible for the country. And people like Nancy Mace, I don't know if Nancy Mace would have won last time if Kevin McCarthy hadn't helped her out. I know when Wagner was running in 20, her district had become increasingly blue. She was not expected to win, and she needed folks to help, raise money for her. And when people criticize her, if you sit down and talk to Ann Wagner, which I'm sure you have, she's very conservative, but she's been from a swing district for a very long time, and she has to protect that seat, and she has to represent the constituents there. So I think people have to remember that. I hear some knocks sometimes on Dean Plocker the same way. The guy goes out and raises money to hold the majority, because in the districts that the Republicans could possibly lose, they are all purple districts. The far right, super conservative theology, for lack of a better word, it just doesn't play in those areas. We had to protect Wagner. At the same time, let me look at it the other way. When Cori Bush won that primary, we knew, having somebody in Missouri that was that far to the left and that crazy, we could tag her to other Democrats and swing seats. So we tied her to Ann Wagner's opponent. And people are like, we don't need, they identified Cori with Jill Shoup, two different people, But we made that comparison, and we were able to put that albatross around Jill Shoop's neck and help Wagner win. Now, you also have to have good candidates, and I don't want to take anything away from Ann Wagner because she's fantastic, but that's how these majorities are won and lost. And the folks who are claiming Matt Gaetz, who made a deal with the Democrats to oust our speaker, they think he's the true Republican. I got news for you. He's very self-serving, and he doesn't care about these swing seats because he is not going to lose his seat. He's in a deep red district.
Good morning, Gene. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So you bring up a really good point that I think a lot of constituents don't really think about, because we're worried more about the governance side, right? Once the leadership gets in, okay, we've got red people in charge. Let's do some red things, and as you said, that speakership job is twofold, and we're not so much paying attention to that first part. How does one really balance those two aspects then, trying to make sure that we get majorities, because that's one in purple areas, but doing red things when you get into office?
Well, I mean, Kevin McCarthy was able to pass the most conservative CR that's been even presented for over a decade. So maybe the things weren't as conservative as we would like, but they're far more conservative than we've seen in a long time. And I think we need to keep pressuring Republicans to do the things that we sent them there for, but that doesn't mean eating our own. And it just can't do. I saw Matt Gaetz was bragging about he never takes a PAC check. The reason Matt Gaetz doesn't take a PAC check because no PAC wants to give him money. Any politician who says that, it's because they can't raise the money. It's not because they wouldn't take it if they could. Trust me. They all have to raise money for their reelections. You see this sometimes in Missouri. We have folks from deep red areas who want to do things that really impact the suburbs, and leadership has to somehow keep the grassroots happy and protect those vulnerable seats that they could lose, and if they pass things that are seen as too, quote unquote, extreme. And I think in Missouri, we've sort of taken for granted that this is a red state, and I can tell you that as soon as you start taking things for granted, things flip. I mean, look what happened to Colorado. Colorado shifted very quickly from red to blue, and this was before the Californians moved there. That's what happened, and it was because they started fighting and having a lot of primaries over red seats that eventually that drained the party of resources, and then the Democrats started looking at seats where they could particularly pick somebody off, raised a bunch of money, and won the first cycle to the next cycle, and before you know it, they had flipped the entire legislature, and Colorado's not coming back. It wasn't that long ago that Nicole Galloway won a statewide race. I mean, that was 18? So it could happen here if we sit back on our heels and don't pay attention to things that are important to people in these swing districts, because Republicans in St. Louis County, for them, are not the same as Republicans in some of our more rural areas. Trust me, there's differences.
Hey, Gene, when you look at the U.S. House here, and one of these days we've got to get you in the studio just to talk about this, because there is a massive cultural conflict within the GOP on the Missouri in the Missouri Republican Party, but let's look at this. Steve Scalise is a conservative guy. I mean, I would have been fine with Jordan or Scalise, whoever they selected, since they had to select somebody. Now we've got 7 holdouts who have different reasons, saying, well, the caucus picked him, but I'm just not on board yet. And that means that there is no Speaker of the House right now. So congressional Republicans are doing what congressional Republicans do, which is basically put the crosshairs right on their own feet, so to speak. And so, what do you make of the fact that a very small number, and Matt Gaetz I don't think is part of this one, but even Jim Jordan, who lost the vote, he says, listen, we voted, I lost. Steve Scalise is the guy. Let's all get behind him and have a speaker and actually move forward with the agenda. And you've just got this small group of people for different reasons that are saying, yeah, we're just going to hold it up. And I have no idea what they could possibly be benefiting from that.
No, and a lot of, politics is very personal. A lot of times there are personal disagreements and things that pop up that keep people from either voting on an issue or supporting another candidate. The leader makes a lot of decisions about who's on what committee, who leads those committees, what bills come forward, all those things. I mean, the committees are already set, But without majorities and without the speaker there to move things, a lot of the investigations that Republicans would like to continue have stopped. So I think, one thing that people can do is put pressure on these legislators to say, hey, we do want things to keep moving. I mean, a lot of Republicans and libertarians say, hey, if the government's not doing anything, that's good for us, right? Because all they do is tax us and give us more regulations. But not when we're in power. And there are a lot of things that we are able to do now with the majority that just aren't happening because they're fighting. And it's not just aid to the Ukraine. I know people want that to stop, but it's things like these investigations. Let me tell you something. Hunter Biden, all that stuff would have completely skated had we not won the majority. These investigations are bringing a lot of things to light, and the fear of being investigated is forcing some of these bureaucrats to cough up information that they've been hiding for a long time. So people need to get real with this. These folks are not heroes. They are holding up the Republican agenda. You're not going to agree with the Republican agenda 100% of the time, and nobody does. It's not the only person you're going to agree with 100% of the time is yourself, and maybe not that, depending on how many personalities you have. But you've got to understand. People say, well, this is uniparty. Bull. Look at these Democrats who are praising terrorists. This is not a uniparty. We have Republicans, some of whom you may disagree with, who have an agenda and they're working it, but it has been stopped by a handful of people. So there needs to be pressure from their constituents, from people, from their donors, and from people on social media saying, quit holding up the Republican agenda. We need to move forward as a team. This is a team sport. It's not every man for himself. It's a team sport, and they've got to get behind the leader, which is now Steve Coons. And all this just reminds you that they really are never going to be happy. They're always going to complain, and I do think they need to get rid of that rule that one member can make that motion, because I just think that is too destructive to the body as a whole.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was a deal with McCarthy, and now that McCarthy's out, I don't know if that rule is still in effect, is it?
Well, it was a rule for a long time, and Nancy Pelosi got rid of it.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
So I'm not sure. I mean, I don't like her politics, but Pelosi was a very smart leader, and she managed to keep her folks in line. But one of the reasons she was able to do that was because she got rid of that rule, because she got some crazy folks over there, as you know. But again, this majority, we could lose the majority, and then people will be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe we lost the majority." It's like, well, yeah, that's because you're supporting these lunatics who really have some other agenda, and it's not the agenda they're talking about. It's not because they're super conservative or whatever, that agree with them or not. It's because they have personal things that they want that they're not getting, or they like the attention, or a million different other reasons. I've met people like this in politics. I mean, there's a reason why Matt Gaetz doesn't have any friends. It's like if you have somebody you work with and nobody likes them and nobody wants to be friends with them, that tells you something. If none of your colleagues like you and support you, that tells you something about that person's character. So I'm frustrated, of course, as a Republican, but whenever I see that in any state house or in D.C., somebody who really doesn't have a lot of support, it's usually for a good reason, just like it is in normal life. It's not because they're some sort of conservative hero. It's because they're not, a good person.
Okay, Gene, I've got to get you in the studio one of these days. I want to flesh that aspect of it out as well. Some of what you said I agree with. Some of it I don't agree with. But I think that's a fascinating conversation. I think the overall strategy, I think you're absolutely on. And I absolutely agree on some of the fringe nutcases that we've got. I would love it if the Republican Party would stop listening to the crazy people. But I also think there are some principled people out there as well who are trying to keep the party as conservative as possible, at least in the state as well. So I think that'd be a fascinating conversation. We've got to do that.
Well, I agree with you, but I also think too. I have to say this. I do think that this does put pressure on all Republicans to be more fiscally conservative, and that's not a bad thing.
No, that's a great thing.
Yeah. So if something good comes out of it, and that's it, I would be happy about that. I just don't like the tactics.
I get that. I think that would be a really fun, interesting conversation to get a lot of brain juices going. We got to do this.
All right. Sounds good.
That's right. All right. Gene Evans, former executive director of the Missouri Republican Party, also former state representative as well. Gene, really appreciate you being on. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, 314-912-1019. I didn't expect that to go that direction. That was interesting.
Yeah. I learned a little bit too with
Yeah.
the basically those dual roles that the speaker plays.
Oh yeah, the leadership. It's.
I knew there was money involved. I didn't quite get the connection to getting majorities.
Right, but it's also a matter of who you vote into leadership sets the tone and the agenda, and all of the frustration we're having with the Missouri legislature, for instance,
Yes.
is because we have people who aren't prioritizing an actual conservative agenda.
Yep.
So this is the giving thing. I know Gene's not afraid of anything, and we've agreed and disagreed in the past, and I love being able to have those conversations. All right, 314-912-1019. Update to a couple of stories regarding teachers who are saying, hey, social media, this is the real world, man. Why are you firing me for what I'm doing on my own personal time? Or I quit.
Yeah.
Because you don't like what I'm doing on my personal time.
Yeah.
Got the update to that just ahead here on 1019-941 News Talk STL.
Who's gonna pick you up when you fall?
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL.
Who's gonna hang it up when you call?
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Who's gonna pay attention to your dreams?
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote and accelerate the development of quality Christ-centered K-12 education.
Hi, this is Daryl Jones, president of the Herzog Foundation. We have an exciting new training opportunity available for public school and Christian school teachers. The Herzog Foundation Institute has partnered with the Bill of Rights Institute to offer 4 training events in 4 Missouri cities this year. These day-long professional development opportunities are best suited for middle and high school civics, government, U.S. history, and social studies teachers. Middle and high school teachers have a unique opportunity to strengthen civic knowledge and values for the next generation. We want to help teachers seize this opportunity.
Visit herzogfoundation.com/events to learn more and register for a Bill of Rights Institute training event near you. herzogfoundation.com/events. herzogfoundation.com/events.
I want to share something special with you. I've told you how Wellington Environmental works to keep hospitals, schools, businesses safe for their patients, students, clients, employees. Wellington can do the same for you. Perfect example. A relative went to the basement, almost knocked over by the smell. A sewer line had broken. A call to Wellington, a crew was dispatched. First thing, make the home safe. Then clean up the mess. Truly clean it up. Now, I'm telling you this because I want the best for you. Wellington Environmental. Here's the number, 314-644-4930. 644-4930. AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. 644-4930. Wellington Environmental. Your world. Cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
Tony Colombo here with a great offer from Zero Res. Just mentioned the Colombo special when you book a cleaning in October, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 plus $50 off an air duct cleaning. We've trusted Zero Res with our home for years, and 5,000 Google reviews with an average of 4.9 out of 5 says it all. Zero Res is the best when it comes to cleaning any surface in your home. Just remember to mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Good morning, St. Louis. It's Ben Shapiro. I'll talk to you tonight at 11. But right now, back to the Mike Ferguson Show on the new conservative voice of St. Louis, 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
All right, she got plenty of support online, but the teacher who was surprised to find that a school district reacted negatively to her side hustle as a sex worker
I was honestly shocked.
no longer has a job in a classroom. I'll tell you why here in a minute. You know, when that song comes on, my 80s metalhead comes in, I'm like, I don't want to say anything until it reaches its crescendo.
Yes.
And I know, but I got to do a show.
That's a long intro.
It's a great intro.
The song from Autograph?
Yes.
Yeah, turn up the radio. Yeah.
There it is. See, the drums are coming in. We just need some keyboards right there. Yeah, there it is. All right. By the way, could the indoctrination centers known as public schools be part of the reason there's so much anti-Israel protest and so much anti-Semitism on college campuses today? Let's explore that among some other things at 7:05.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
I think
It's
so.
like, yes. It's their fault.
Yeah. Okay, remember Brianna Coppage? She is the teacher from, what was it, the St. Clair, Missouri side. So, 50 miles from St. Louis?
Yeah,
And she
southwest of us, yes.
Yeah, southwest of us. So she made the national headlines because it was discovered that she's on OnlyFans.
Mhm.
And by the way, to the guy who sent me after the show, sent me a link to her OnlyFans account.
Oh, man.
Don't do that.
No.
I did not click it.
No.
I don't want that.
Don't promote that.
I don't want it.
Stop.
So here's the thing. She was a high school English teacher turned wannabe porn star.
High school even.
High school teacher, yeah.
Jeez.
So she has actually tendered her resignation. So she's quit her day job to go with the skanky work.
Right, yeah, because that'll take her through retirement.
Yeah, she'll make a lot of money, right? I mean, apparently
Up front, yeah.
she's like adding a lot of, followers or whatever, subscribers or whatever they do.
That usually happens when they get like national publicity. I've noticed.
But here's the thing is that I bring this back up not because we've already talked about what we think about, the fact that she's a school teacher and decided that it was perfectly okay to do porn on the side. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
We've had our say about that.
Yeah.
Here's what's interesting to me. If you look, because this is going to be in the social media headlines, so look at whatever news outlet that you want to look at. They write their story, they publish it on their website, they go put it on social media feeds. Look at the comments.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to tell you which ones. Go look at any of them because I got curious and I was looking at them in St. Louis, TV radio stations, looking at the news outlets in other parts of Illinois and Missouri and other places. And the vast, vast majority of comments were people who were angry that she was in trouble with the school. They basically had a couple of different approaches. It's her private business, and what she does once she leaves work is none of the school's business. How dare they think that they have a right to tell her what she can and can't do? And the other one is, well, teachers don't get paid anything, so they have to go become basically
strippers.
Basically
porn stars.
Hoes.
Yes,
is what they have to be. And first of all, just ridiculous. Listen. We have a K through 12 public education system that is devoid of morals to start with. So I'm actually a little surprised that they don't name a day for her and have a parade
at school.
And whenever a senior turns 18, say, here's look at this.
First month OnlyFans subscription
Here's
free.
A gift card.
Yeah, there you go.
Because that's the lack of morals that we have. I mean, we've got schools that are literally putting grooming materials in their libraries. But the idea that, well, it's none of their business what she does on her side job. They wouldn't get mad if she were a waitress. So they wouldn't get mad.
Well, no.
No. Okay.
Because what you're serving's different.
I did not see that one.
Hey, I'll be here all day, folks.
And so the reaction, but it shows you the cultural rot that we've got. Now listen, if you're an adult, you want to go do OnlyFans, you want to get other adults, and they're going to voluntarily give you money for subjecting yourself to that. Whatever,
sure.
None of my business. I'm not going to pay you, but none of my business. But the idea that somebody that a community or a school district says, yeah, you shouldn't be the influential person went around a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah.
And I would not even just say teenage boys, teenagers.
Yeah.
Okay,
or kids in general.
Not everybody has a right to do that. And by the way, I thought it was interesting that the teachers union didn't step up and throw a fit and fight for her because normally they'll stand up for any teacher no matter what they do.
Honestly, yeah.
Which I'm kind of surprised. I don't know what was going on with that.
Now, interestingly enough, I kind of follow what's been going on in social media circles discussing the breakdown of relationships between men and women. It's kind of a fascinating space. And one of the things, and we've discussed actually the fallout of the breakdown of family structure as a whole and its effect on society and the things that are coming from it.
Right.
And this stuff is kind of wrapped up in all of that, because you have this. It's basically the love of money that's driving people to just jump on these bandwagons and throw themselves out there. It's having so many deleterious effects on everybody.
So she's made a decision that she's going to make more money doing this than she would actually teaching, and I'm sure she will for the short term.
Oh yeah.
But guess what? You're going to get old someday.
Those long-term prospects are not good.
Stuff's going to start sagging that people aren't going to want to pay for anymore.
Well, there's always a new girl on OnlyFans, man.
Oh, I suspect so. Yep.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The death toll in the war ignited by the Hamas terror attack on Israel has risen to at least 2,600 with deaths on both sides. Israel continues bombing targets in the Hamas stronghold of Gaza in advance of an expected Israeli ground offensive. America's top diplomat is in Israel. Secretary of State Blinken meeting with Israeli officials, including Prime Minister Netanyahu, who vows to crush Hamas.
There will be many difficult days ahead, but I have no doubt that the forces of civilization will win. And the reason that's true is because we understand what is the first prerequisite of victory: moral clarity.
He says Israel did not start the war, but Israel will finish it. Nominated for the job, Steve Scalise may not have the votes needed to become the next Speaker of the House.
Republicans on Wednesday nominated Scalise to serve as House Speaker following Kevin McCarthy's historic ouster last week, but delayed further action when it became apparent he lacked the vote of the full chamber to win. The House adjourned Wednesday evening without a floor vote, which has yet to be scheduled.
Correspondent Edwin Mora. More auto workers have abandoned the assembly line for the picket line.
The United Auto Workers Union has significantly escalated its walkout against 3 Detroit automakers by going on strike against a major Ford truck plant in Louisville, Kentucky. In a surprise move, the 8,700 members walked out at about 6:30 p.m.
That's correspondent Lisa Dwyer. 3 people in the hospital after stabbings at Atlanta's Hartsfield Airport. A woman is under arrest. There's been no word on what prompted yesterday afternoon's attack. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures up 110 points. NASDAQ futures 47 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Donald Trump warned America. The U.S. dollar is under attack, and it's becoming less and less valuable by the day. Hyperinflation and speculation is killing your retirement. Don't leave your money sitting in cash. It's time you diversified and protected your future with physical precious metals. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000 and get your free digital dollar survival kit and learn how you could get up to $1,000 in free silver today. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 to get your free digital dollar survival kit, and you may qualify for $1,000 in free silver. Advantage Gold is the #1 rated gold and silver company in America. Your future is precious. Protect it today when you call Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000 now.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Check with your financial advisor before investing.
That's 800-900-8000.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Dry and mild to get your Thursday rolling, turning warmer and breezy as the day goes on. Plenty of sunshine, though, a high of 81. That's about 10 degrees above normal. South wind at 10 to 20 this afternoon. Tonight, a slow increase in cloud cover as our next storm system approaches, down to 64. Rain and storms likely on Friday, and keep an eye on this. Some of these storms could be on the strong side, a low-end threat of some damaging wind. Friday's high 74 before colder air arrives for the weekend. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog Darian!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin
All right, are we going to have more choices for kids when it comes to schools, whether or not the government acts for school choice or not? Looks like there are more churches getting involved in the education business, which I think is a great thing.
Folks are taking the situation into their own hands.
They have to. We have to. Absolutely.
Much needed.
And also, when you look at so much blatant anti-Semitism, especially on college campuses right now, which is where a lot of those protests over the past week or so have originated.
Yeah,
from.
a lot of young 20-somethings in those crowds.
Yeah, we know that the academy brainwashes, but they got to come in a little bit pre-brainwashed, don't they?
Yeah,
so
you
let's
have to.
get into
Yeah.
that here just as well. All right, I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 7:06. Still ahead here in St. Louis, right around 7:20 or so. Another part of the so-called homeless Bill of Rights is running into resistance from neighborhoods around St. Louis because the City Hall proposal would do away with neighborhoods being able to push back against having homeless shelters next to them or within them.
Right.
So I'll give you the update on that. What would you do if you were being told, yeah, we're just going to open up a homeless shelter. You don't get to have a say in that anymore.
No.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that just ahead. Daryl Jones from our friends at the Herzog Foundation joins us right now. Daryl, of course, I'm always looking at Read Line. I look at that probably about 3 times a week. I can't say I look every day, but I look about 3 times a week for what you do here.
Great, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I see this one article that that you all wrote, and Elizabeth pointed it out to me when we were getting everything planned for this week, and it is more churches are starting private schools. They're starting religious schools. Now, my grade school years, majority of my grade school years, were in a Christian school run by a church. That it seems to me that used to be more common for a while, and then a lot of churches maybe got out of the business of that. And now is it coming back? And if it's coming back, why is it coming back now? I mean, there are Christian schools out there, but man, these things are expensive to put together and run for under normal circumstances.
Well, I'll tell you, thank you for that. ReadLion.com. We're writing 10 to 15 articles every day on what's going on across the country in K through 12 education. So if you have children or grandkids in education, K through 12, we're telling the stories that the major media is not talking about. And among those are, exactly as you pointed out, churches. I would say, as a retired pastor, churches are getting back into the education of the children, certainly in their surrounding areas. I mean, Sunday school started, honestly, at a time in history where children were working 7 days a week. There were no child labor laws, and the church said, this is not acceptable. And they literally started bringing children into the church on Sunday mornings when they could have time to worship, and before worship, they would pull out a Bible and they taught kids to read and write. That's the genesis of Sunday school. And then in American history, certainly we started exporting education out of the church. But 2020 really began to expose that education that's going on in public circles is not the education of 20 years ago or 30 years ago. The buildings still stand, but the education system has changed. And unfortunately, I mean, you see it on the news every day that the values of the Christian faith are on target in so many aspects of society. And churches are saying, you know what, we're going to raise our kids with our values. We're going to give them a good education. Test scores are incredible. Kids are learning, kids are reading, kids are writing. And you know what? With the entrepreneurial spirit of certainly of 2023, what we're finding is that churches are not simply they're not simply reproducing the old system of this is what school looks like. And there's some very innovative education models that are taking place across the country. You know, we've talked about micro schools, this idea of a one-room schoolhouse that honestly is extremely financially affordable for churches and for families. And because of the smaller class size, the test score, the kids are learning to read and write. I mean, the article that you referenced is just talking about how kids that historically have struggled are doing so well in this kind of an environment. They're getting the attention. They're getting more of a tailored education process based on the way that they learn. And it's happening all over the country. And I've had friends of mine that are pastors leading churches that are saying, we started with 6 or 7 kids, and we hired one teacher who was a state certified teacher from our church to lead it. And they're telling me that these things are growing exponentially. There's one church that has a 2-day a week. It's called a hybrid school. It's 2 days a week, Monday and Wednesday, where the pastor is where the families bring their kids Monday and Wednesday to the church, and there are certified state teachers at grade levels for those kids. And then at the end of Monday, the teacher says to mom, okay, here's what Skippy needs to be doing on Tuesday. And whoever the guardian is monitoring what the kids are doing. They come back in on Wednesday. The teacher teaches. Here's what Skippy needs to be doing on Thursday and Friday. I'm telling you, the test scores are unbelievable. And listen, since 2021, this one church that I know has 250 students 2 days a week. And I said, oh, my gosh, what's the capacity of your building? And he said, we're there. And I said, so you're going to be a school? I said, you're going to be a school of 250 kids. He said, well, no, actually, the pastor wants to start a Tuesday, Thursday school next year so we can go to 500. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Good morning, Daryl. Gabe here. So I was gonna ask what the major differences are between a traditional Christian school, which we all think is basically just it looks like a public school, but it's attached to a really gigantic church that can able to finance such a thing, and the difference between that and a micro school as you're discussing. But it sounds as though it's not just a matter of scale, that it's a matter of how it's conducted.
Yeah, and by the way, I just Daryl, I'm also noticing that you referenced Carrie McDonald from Foundation for Economic Education. I've interviewed Carrie before regarding the micro schools. Gabe, she's pointing out that their research is saying these things that are church sponsored are popping up like everywhere.
Absolutely. It's absolutely happening, and churches are saying, you know what, we're going to get back in the education business, and we're going to teach our kids to read and write, and we're going to do it in an environment that is not hostile to the values or to the faith of the families. We're going to do it in an environment that embraces the values of the family, and that's how education started. Harvard, how many Ivy League schools were started by the church, and then we exported it out, and it's become certainly become a different animal.
Hey, good morning, Daryl. Stell here. Skippy was my buddy in grade school. I love Skippy.
Absolutely. And a darn good student he was. He was learning, absolutely.
He knew math really well, so he helped me out.
I love it.
I got to ask you about the alternatives that you've mentioned. You've got the School Box program available. Just take a second to talk about the School Box program.
I would love to. Thank you. Listen, School Box is an online platform. It is free of charge. It is free to use. If you say, look, we've got children in our neighborhood, we don't have access really to a good Christian school, how do we do it? Here is a free online platform where we will, number one, give you the roadmap. Here's step one. Here's what you need to do. Here's step two. Here's what you need to do. 8-step program to launching a Christian school of any variety. We tell you all of the different options that are available that you could do based on budget, based on the number of students. Is it a micro school, a hybrid school, a 5-day-a-week, K through 12? Sure, we can help you do that. But in addition to the 8-step roadmap, we'll also find through our growing network of Christian educators somebody who's running the exact kind of school that you want to launch. We'll pay that head of school to coach your launch team through each one of the steps for a successful launch. And what does it cost to use that platform? It costs nothing. What does it cost the educators to mentor and be those coaches? It costs them nothing. That is the mission of the Herzog Foundation to advance K through 12 Christian education. We're very excited about School Box, and honestly, we're getting ready to launch a mirror site that's looking at homeschool groups. hfhomeschool.com will be how can you launch a support group for parents of homeschool? How can you launch a homeschool co-op? How can you launch a play day group for your homeschool? So we really want to give free resources to those who are serious about good education, Christian education for their kids.
We are visiting with Daryl Jones, the Herzog Foundation. All right, Daryl, I know we're just about out of time on this segment, but I want to ask about what's happening on university campuses all over the country. We know that the academy tends to be a brainwashing center for older teenagers and young adults, but I've got to argue and I've got to think that they come in a little bit pre-brainwashed through what we're seeing in the K through 12 public education system. You've talked about not assaulting the values of the families, with Christian schools.
Right.
How can this sort of approach that the K through 12 public schools are taking on things like anti-Semitism and anti-Israel thinking and pro-Palestinian and pro-Hamas thinking, that has to come from somewhere, and I don't think enough of us take seriously the accusation that these systems are really indoctrination centers, in addition to doing for a lot of people a lousy job educating anyway.
Mike, you have absolutely nailed it. I mean, that is exactly what's going on. I think we all knew that higher education were indoctrination camps. I mean, trust me, I get it. I have a bachelor's degree, I have a master's degree, I have a doctoral degree, all from higher education. The thing is, what none of us paid attention to was that the people that are being trained to be educators in public education centers of higher learning are now are now leading classrooms at the K through 12 level. And what we're seeing is really just a resurgence of young people that have these ideologies that are completely different from the values of their parents. And it all started at the K through 12 level. And that's where I think you're seeing pastors. More than that, you're seeing families. You're seeing parents that are saying, hey, enough of this. And you know, why are we seeing all of these legislatures across the country that are changing the laws of their state regarding education and coming up with voucher systems or ESA programs, or finding ways to get their parents with some options for dollars, options other than the public system, because of this revolt that's happening among parents saying, hey, this is not acceptable. And we're seeing it all over.
Yeah, and there's this has got legs. This isn't a fad as well. All right, Daryl, let's give the website out there one more time.
Thanks, guys. HerzogFoundation.com. All things Herzog Foundation. Everything we've talked about this morning, you can find it right there. And we'd love to talk with any pastors, any Christian schools that are already there that are looking for resources to help them, and certainly for families that are looking for options. We're here. HerzogFoundation.com.
All right, thanks, Daryl. Great talking to you again.
Always with you guys as well. God bless.
Thanks, Daryl.
All right, and far less of a chance of worrying about your teachers being on OnlyFans.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Just saying. All right, just ahead here, City Hall says, wait a minute, you don't want homeless shelters in your neighborhood? What?
Who would have thunk?
Huh, well, we may have to put one there anyway.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, all right, let's talk about that right around 7:22 here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. How would you react if they came and said, yeah, we know you don't want it, or we don't think you want it, but we're just going to do it anyway? Because that's what could be coming to St. Louis in the city, as part of the Unhoused Bill of Rights, where they have to deal with the problem, but it looks like they may be taking the approach of, we've just got to prioritize some people over the others. And with our leftist virtue signaling, what we're going to do is maybe prioritize the homeless.
That's not going to go over well.
Yeah, it's not going over well. I'll tell you all about that just ahead, right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Don't try to make me stop. No inspiration. You have a soul so dark it is no more.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Stop it right now before you blow us all away.
Well, it's fall, y'all. Time to give Hanson's Tree Service a call this fall. 636-379-1830. 24/7, always available at hansonstree.com. Fall is the perfect time to spruce up and beautify your landscape beds with that fantastic organic mulch in bulk from Hanson's. What else should you do? How about clear out all the overhanging trees, get rid of all the old stumps, generally clean up the homestead as we head towards Old Man Winter. They're standing by to help you today. 636-379-1830 or 24/7, always available at hansonstree.com. hansonstree.com.
Be part of something big. Your city, your voice. Town Hall, a rare event, is coming to the heart of our beloved St. Louis City. Imagine this: Attorney General Andrew Bailey and Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft in person, side by side, taking on your burning questions. It's October 12th. Come and ask the questions that keep you awake at night. It's your moment to be heard. Visit stlouisrepublicans.com for details.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
The one and only Karen Catalina.
They used to say fight or flight, but it's really fight, flight, or freeze. And when you get overwhelmed with a certain amount of emotion, you sometimes freeze. We've been raised, to suck it up. Because my father was a very tough kind of guy. And he was kind of like, he'd push you at the deep end of the pool. Swim, And yet he'd cry in movies.
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Staff Sergeant Mark Anthony Madrid.
Staff Sergeant Samantha Cowell.
I'm Staff Sergeant Alex
Staff Sergeant William Lewis, and I am proud to defend my family and our nation.
The Air Force Reserve is part of the story of this great nation.
I'm grateful that I have a chance to wear the uniform of the heroes that went before me.
I'm proud to be part of a team that helps make a difference in the world.
Every day, men and women from communities across this nation serve as Reserve Citizen Airmen. Even as technology evolves and changes, our commitment to defend and protect this nation remains steadfast. We celebrate those who have served and those who are proudly serving. We celebrate our proud history and look towards an exciting and uniting future. Our mission is to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace.
And I am proud to be a member.
And I'm proud to serve in the United States. And I am proud to protect our country.
Proud to serve in the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
We're here with our great friends, Kathy and Rob Connor from Connor Roofing. One thing I love about your company, Kathy, is customer service.
We pride ourselves on making sure our customers are happy, and you can check out our Google reviews. We're very proud of that as well. And if you're not happy, we will do what it takes to fix the problem.
Well, that's just it. You set expectations, and we like to really educate our customers, and it gets done the way we said we were going to do it.
Call Connor Roofing, 314-375-7475, or connorroofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
The tides are changing.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
The Democratic Party doesn't stand with what I stand for.
News Talk STL.
This is Ron Clutho, and I've got some great stories for you. Join me on Saturday night at 10 p.m. for Stories of New Americans. Right now, let's get back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
This homeless Bill of Rights thing in St. Louis has been a really fascinating discussion.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now St. Louis City Hall gets it wrong pretty much all the time.
98.7%.
Right.
According to my calculations.
So here's what's different. Here's what's different about this. Now, one, I still think they're getting this wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also in a no-win situation, so I'm a little bit sympathetic even to the far lefties in the City Hall because they have to deal with the problem.
Smallest violin.
Very small. But here's the thing, though, is they have to do something.
That's true.
This isn't empty do-something-ism. They have to do something. Now, a lot of their policies have helped create the problem, but they do have to deal with the problem.
Yes.
Okay? So what's happening now is this, unhoused Bill of Rights, and we mentioned yesterday that even some of the far left alder critters are saying, no, that's too much. I can't go for that.
Making strange bedfellows with the conservatives in the city.
I mean, they're quoting the great philosophers Hall and Oates. No can do. But the aspect of where to allow homeless shelters or where to put homeless shelters is now rubbing the neighborhood associations the wrong way. And if you know a lot about St. Louis City politics, you've got the Democratic machine that runs basically everything.
Yes.
But part of all of that is the neighborhood associations, which are much more influential in each different ward than in other cities. I mean, I've lived in other cities. A lot of times neighborhood associations literally are about planning the 4th of July picnic every year.
Right, and that's pretty much it.
Not here. These are power players. And the proposal is that they do away with this requirement that says 51% of the people within 500 feet, so literally within a football field, almost a football field and a half length. Because a football field, 100 yards from end zone to end zone. You include the end zones, you're looking at 120 yards, so 360 feet. So within 500 feet, so a football field and a half basically, from where a homeless shelter would be put into place, you've got to get a majority of people to sign off on that.
Right. That's the current rule. Right?
That's the current rule. And City Hall is like, man, what's happening is nobody will sign off on it.
Nobody's voting for this. It's amazing.
Right.
Nobody wants a homeless shelter in their neighborhood. That's that's shocking to us. Shocking.
Right. But at the same time, all of these same people are yelling at City Hall to do something about the problem.
Right.
So City Hall says, but we tried to put these shelters in place to get them off the streets and under the bridges, but you said no.
Right.
So City Hall is now considering doing away with that rule and just saying, you know what, we can have a public hearing or something, but we're going to decide where they go.
Right.
Not a real popular plan with some people.
Yeah, I imagine there's quite a bit of pushback, especially from these neighborhood associations, which, like you said, are relatively powerful organizations in comparison to, like you said, the fall committee,
right? Yeah,
the fall festival committees that you see in the Hallmark movies. So, yeah, these guys, they're the when they talk about organizing a neighborhood, it's like we need a community organizers. that's basically who these guys
Well,
are.
yeah, these aren't the ones who fly in just to do campaigns and stuff.
Sure.
Some of these neighborhood associations are probably 75 years old.
Yeah, they're the ones that are
Right.
there that the community organizers have to get permission from and have to genuflect to. That's what I mean. It's
Right.
like if you're going to organize a community, you're actually talking to these people.
Yeah, exactly. And there are a lot of benefits for these. I am not a fan of homeowners associations at all. Neighborhood associations are different.
They are a little bit different.
They are. I mean, I would never live in a place with a homeowners association. That's a whole different rant for me. But so what do you do then at this point? I mean, I think about my neighborhood where I live. Now, I don't live in the city. I live like 3 blocks away from the city. I'm just on the other side of McCausland.
Right.
Like 3 blocks. And if they came in and said, hey, we need to get sign-offs, we want to put a homeless shelter here. For instance, there's a big Catholic church not too far from my house. And if they said, listen, we're going to have a homeless shelter here. We're going to put it in our annex building or whatever the case is. But we need 51% of the people to sign off and say you're okay with it. I'm not signing that.
No. And I guess this kind of leads into the larger discussion on what do you do with the homeless in general? What's fair? What's right? How do you deal with this problem? And I think we got to start thinking outside the box here. I mean, right now we keep thinking, okay, well, they're homeless in St. Louis, so in St. Louis is where we need to house them, and of course that. You're not removing them from the environment that brought on their homelessness. You're not removing them from the environment that fosters whatever mental health or drug addiction issues they have. And anybody can tell you that, one of the primary ways that you change a person's life is you change their environment. So I'm wondering if they really just need to embrace that idea. And I've been kind of saying this for a while now. I keep coming back to this idea. Just put them out in the boonies. Honestly, I mean, it sounds kind of mean. It's like, yeah, we're just going to ship a whole bunch of people off on buses 3 hours outside of St. Louis and put them on a building on the equivalent of a ranch-sized property. 5 acres on all sides. There's no place to go. This is where your help is. And I mean, really, what do the celebrities do when they went on a drug bender and they have to go get clean? They go to a retreat. Essentially, they get isolated. They isolate themselves in order to get themselves back on track. Why is that?
Or a reality show.
Or there's the reality show aspect of it too. They go to What's It Island, so, But the idea being that this is the method by which you get somebody clean. You get somebody to change their habits. Maybe that's a tactic that needs to be taken.
Yeah, so St. Louis, I couldn't imagine that that's actually going to be something that they, even if it would work, they're not going to consider it.
Oh, of course not.
And I would think they would probably love to bust up the problems and get them out of town.
Well, sure, in general.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that would be something if you're a politician. It's like, get them out of sight, get them out of mind. Although that the far left, thinking is, no, it's our job to take care of them. It's not the government's job to take care of them. It's the government's job in this particular case to try to manage the problem that's affecting the rights of other people.
Yeah, this is kind of the general welfare sort of expression of government, right?
But that also includes the people who live here.
And that's what I mean. It's like the people who live here are the ones whose general welfare should be paramount.
Yeah, so is there an easy answer? No, and I'm going to grant him that. That is not an easy answer.
No.
But to go in and say, we're going to change the rules so that you have less of a say where we put people who cause problems, terrible governance.
That's terrible.
Terrible governance.
Yep.
All right, 314-912-1019. Hey, the good news is the House GOP caucus has picked a speaker. The bad news is they can't get past their own selves.
They can't
to
sit
make it happen.
The speaker.
Susie Moore's got the update for us right around 7:34 here on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Dry and mild to get your Thursday rolling, turning warmer and breezy as the day goes on. Plenty of sunshine, though, a high of 81. That's about 10 degrees above normal. South wind at 10 to 20 this afternoon. Tonight, a slow increase in cloud cover as our next storm system approaches, down to 64. Rain and storms likely on Friday, and keep an eye on this. Some of these storms could be on the strong side, a low-end threat of some damaging wind. Friday's high 74 before colder air arrives for the weekend. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
The tides are changing.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
The Democratic Party doesn't stand with what I stand for.
News Talk STL.
This time of year, heavy rains, high winds, they can hit, and if you have any loose shingles, even the smallest hole in your roof, you're taking a major gamble with your biggest investment. I can tell you from personal experience. Do not wait until you have water where it shouldn't be. Don't forget that John Beal has disaster crews, which can at least cover your roof until the damage can be fully repaired. Homeowner, business owner, call John Beal. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
I'm not a big fan of Joe Biden, but I am going to give him credit for his remarks regarding the Hamas terrorists, calling them out for exactly what they are, saying sheer evil, and also saying our hearts may be broken, but our resolve is clear. Let there be no doubt the U.S. has Israel's back. Those are good, strong words, but, will he back them up? The other issue I have is that he completely ignored the role of Iran in funding terrorist activities around the world, which means he's also ignoring the $6 billion he's giving Iran and the money he's given in the past. In fact, this last April, the Biden administration overturned a Trump policy and gave Palestinians $235 million in aid. Again, all supposedly humanitarian aid. And then, of course, we have our open borders. How many terrorists do we have inside our nation? Illinois Congresswoman Miller points out this is a good time for you to hold on to your Second Amendment rights each and every day.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
This is Christina Straight with Straight Realty reminding you why pay more than 4. In 2003, we had a dream to start a real estate company that would revolutionize the real estate market. Now, 20 years later, after navigating through the many markets' ups and downs, we know exactly how to help you in this challenging time. I'm Christina Straight, owner Straight Realty. Don't give away your hard-earned equity. Give us a call today, 314-441-4444, 314-441-all-4s. And remember, why pay more than 4?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Hi, Sean Long for STL Fenceworks. STL Fenceworks is proud and excited to install American-made aluminum and vinyl fence products, as well as American-made decking. For instance, STL Fenceworks has teamed up with Jareth Manufacturing. Jareth invented the aluminum fence industry over 50 years ago. The Jareth product is wholly sourced and manufactured in the U.S., and STL Fenceworks is the third largest Jareth customer in the world. STL Fenceworks is vinyl fencing also, and not just white. We partner with National Vinyl Products to provide you with tan, clay, gray, and variegated wood grain vinyl fence products too, all made in the U.S. Not to be forgotten, STL Fenceworks is maintenance-free decking. STL Fenceworks is the #1 distributor of Wolf Cellular PVC in the Midwest, proudly manufactured in the U.S. and voted #1 maintenance-free decking product in the United States. Let STL Fenceworks make your outdoor space magical. Visit STLFenceworks.com today and learn how we can make your backyard dreams into a reality. At STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the Morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL.
Good morning, St. Louis. It's Ben Shapiro. I'll talk to you tonight at 11. But right now, back to the Mike Ferguson Show on the new conservative voice of St. Louis, 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
You're leaving now.
Okay, there's good news here is that the House Republican caucus got together, they had their vote, and they picked a speaker.
Yay!
That's the good news.
Yay,
They
all
did
right.
it. The bad news is they've got a few holdouts, and they can't actually install their speaker with an actual vote because he would be outvoted by people voting for Hakeem Jeffries.
Dang it, guys, you had one job.
That's a good way to put it. At this juncture, you have one job, which is to pick a speaker. And so they did that.
Mm-hmm.
We're now joined by Red State's Susie Moore. And so Susie, just so that we put the lay of the land out there, the caucus gets behind closed doors. They have their vote. Jim Jordan, Steve Scalise, they vote majority for Steve Scalise. Jim Jordan says, we voted, I lost, and now everybody should support Steve Scalise. As a matter of fact, here's what Jim Jordan had to say after losing that vote.
It's a critical time for the House of Representatives to get back in session, to have a Speaker of the House. So it's important we're back functioning as a House of Representatives. We need a Speaker, and Steve is the guy for that.
So Jim Jordan's doing the right thing, and there are 7 holdouts blocking the Republicans from installing a Speaker of the House when there is so much going on. So I guess my question to you is, what the heck?
What the heck?
Well, I wish I had an answer to that, but I don't. And I'm not sure it's just 7. It could be as much as 11, as many as 11.
Oh, good
Oh,
night.
really?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And there's some people that have refrained from saying what they're going to do. Those are ones that'll probably come along when push comes to shove. But definitely there are 7 holdouts. And it's not entirely clear why they feel the need to hold out. They can only afford, I think, to have 4.
Yep.
And I'm not even sure if that's affected by, I know Corey Mills is over in Israel trying to help people get out. So I don't know. Or is he? Yeah. I'm not sure how that will work in the final count. They're going to need 217 votes to get Scalise across the finish line, and they're not going to get any help from the Dems. So,
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but let's talk about the importance of this here. It's not just about this is embarrassing, guys. Get your act together and get a speaker into place. For the country, there is so much happening right now that is absolutely crucial. Talk about not just the damage to the Republican brand, but what could be set back by the Republicans dealing with these little skirmishes.
it would be embarrassing if we were just in normal times and dealing with issues like inflation and what to do with the border. These are not normal times. The world's burning down around us. There are lots of important decisions that need to be made, and we need leadership to step up and be able to actually lead, and they can't do that if their caucus and their members will not support them.
Good morning, Susie. Gabe here. So I'm actually curious as to how this panned out, because I was actually thinking that Jim Jordan had more support going into this than maybe he did. Were there any changes? Did you have any inside baseball on what exactly happened there?
I don't have a ton of inside baseball, but when you look at the numbers, it was pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
It was 113 to 99, and this was a secret vote. So, some people said how they voted, but they voted in secret. So there's pretty close. With a few more for Scalise. And, I think it just breaks down. Obviously, Scalise is seen as being more of the establishment pick. I don't think that you could confuse him for McCarthy, but I think there are some people who question whether or not he will be resolved enough to really to stand up and kind of hold the line for Republicans and for conservatives in particular, whereas, Jordan is more of a firebrand and more traditionally conservative. There were plenty of people who said, okay, well, if everybody's going to go along and support Scalise, then I will too. But there's just those holdouts, including Nancy Mace, who I've decided she is like an agent of chaos. There's times when she says things that I really appreciate, and other times I look at her and shake my head and think, what are you doing?
You mean like Get Smart? Maxwell Smart?
Pretty much.
Agent of Chaos?
There you go.
Okay.
Susie, just real quick, do you think there was any worry that removing Jim Jordan from judiciary might have been behind some of the votes?
Well, that was my concern. I like both Jordan and Scalise, and I'd be fine with either one of them as Speaker. And I think Jordan would do a great job as Speaker, but I love him heading up Judiciary and the Weaponization Subcommittee. So I was really torn on that. Had the caucus decided to go with him, I'd have been like, great, Jim Jordan's the Speaker. But I don't know if that's the reason that people are holding back. That's not coming through in what they're saying, and that wouldn't seem to me. It's like, okay, well, that was my reasoning, but I lost. So I'll go ahead and support the caucus. If you want things to work and function and you want your party to lead, you're going to go ahead and get behind the person with the majority of the votes.
Yeah, it just seems like during that closed-door meeting and that secret vote in the debates that they were having, that's the time to slug it out. Once the vote happens, and I want conservatives to be individualists. I don't want somebody just simply being tribal. But at some point you say, listen, there is more at stake here. You've got a spending issue that runs out in now 30-some days. With no plan and nobody to negotiate. Obviously, you've got what's happening with Israel being attacked and now fighting back. You've got the southern,
crisis.
Yeah, you've got the southern border. You've got, by the way, there's an election thing happening before too long. And so far, the Republican Party, in the one part of policymaking government that they have a narrow control over, are acting like they are incapable of governing, and voters see that around the country.
They do, and it does not inspire confidence in them, and it's not going to. Now, keep in mind, this is October of 2023. We all know that by November of 2024, people's memories will be, there'll be 8,000 other things that have happened in the interim.
They get that Men in Black's flashy thing, and then they're just to start over.
Another shiny object.
This will probably be way in the rearview mirror, but nevertheless, it's not a good look. And I agree with you, Mike. I mean, we want there to be individuals. We want them. I mean, if they've got certain concessions and certain concerns they want to have addressed, hopefully they're bringing those to Scalise and getting some measure of reassurance. But this is not the time to be, the maverick, and all due deference to John McCain. And it's not, I mean, save your fights for when you have the specific issues in front of you, but get your leader elected. And I don't know. I don't know how it's going to shake out. I mean, Chip Roy was who I really respect. I appreciate his passion. He was barking about them trying to call the vote too quickly after the secret vote. Okay, well, Chip, what are your concerns? What is it you want to have addressed? Let's lay those out. Let's address them, and then let's move forward. At this point, I don't know what the people who are the holdouts are hoping to accomplish, and I am starting to really question what their, whether they have anyone's interests other than their own, and truly, top of mind.
Hey, Susie Stell here. I say it'd be easier to vote for JBL as the speakers of the House. I'm just saying. That was a music.
That's JBL, right?
That was a music joke. There.
Oh, I got you.
JBL
I caught
speakers.
it. I got it. I
Okay.
got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, JBL, what?
It's like, did somebody else get a 3-letter acronym and I didn't know? Okay,
Who is JBL?
Yeah.
So I maintain, from my perspective, democracy can be pretty ugly at times. So can they do another vote today, or do they have to wait a day or two? Can they vote again today?
Well, I mean, vote again. You mean bring the
Yes.
vote to the House floor?
You mean to the
Yes.
floor? Yeah.
Yes.
They can absolutely vote today, and there are rumblings that they may well do that. I agree. Democracy is ugly, and it should be. I mean, it's not like everybody should just be walking in lockstep. I don't expect that at all. I don't want to see that. That would make me a little scared. But they've got to get it together somehow. I don't know. I mean, I'm puzzled because I haven't had anybody lay out a cogent reason why they object to Scalise. Marjorie Taylor Greene's worried about his health. Well, we've got reassurances that he's okay. He's doing fine health-wise. Nancy Mace thinks that he is friends with David Duke, even though that was debunked like 15 years ago. And even though she accepted his support and his financial support when she was running. So nobody has I've not heard anybody voice a logical, sound, persuasive reason as to why they are holding out on this vote.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene and her objection, that would be a defensible position in the caucus to vote for Jim Jordan as opposed to Scalise. Okay, that's fine. That there's nothing indefensible about that. However, once the caucus makes their nomination, at that point, I don't know that it's. I think I don't want people in lockstep on that first vote when they do the party nomination. After that, they say, okay, we had a vote, we made our decision, we had our democratic process. Now it's time to get our act together, and they just refuse to get the act together. Nancy Mace is. I mean, I don't know what to. I'm at least she's not, spending time telling us about what she and her boyfriend do.
Right, exactly. I'm like, so there's that saving.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh my goodness! But at this point, I mean, it does affect other very, very serious things. And, we can talk about, what voters will remember or not remember. But right now they have a responsibility to govern, and they're not governing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really not a good look. And I'm holding out hope that they can get it together by this afternoon, and by tomorrow we have a new speaker elected, because this is not the time to be playing these games. And it just seems like some people are playing games, and I don't have patience for it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. All
Same.
right. A lot of coverage of this at redstate.com, and, of course, a lot of solid updated coverage on what's happening with Israel and Hamas and so many other things. So, Susie, always great to have you on, and thank you in advance for covering some of my upcoming vacation for me and filling in and guest hosting here starting late next week and the week after that.
You know what? You're welcome. I'm looking forward to it, except for I'm not looking forward to the early wake up.
I would say you get used to it, but you don't.
You don't.
No.
All right. Thanks, Susie.
Thanks, Susie.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 314-912-1019. All right. Just ahead here. Gabe, we're going to get a little sciencey.
Okay, yeah.
I want to, because I have not told Gabe what this next story is.
All I know is it's science, and I'm probably going to be mad about it.
Yes. So I've got the story. I'm going to get
my favorite things in the morning.
Your initial reaction here to this in a group of scientists who are being caught up in a debate over wokeness. I'll give you that.
I'm not sure if I want a mad scientist in the room with me.
Oh, he's going to be big mad.
Oh, no.
Right around 7:51 on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
It really comes as no surprise.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
John Michael Montgomery. Live. The multiple Grammy, CMA, and ACM award winner. John Michael Montgomery with McBride and the Ride. Friday, October 20th at the Family Arena. Reserved seats are on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. John Michael Montgomery, live in concert.
Ruben Studdard and Clay Aiken. 20, the tour. Reunited 2 decades after their storied run on American Idol. Ruben and Clay. Friday, October 27th at the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster. Ruben Studdard and Clay Aiken.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
I'm here with Dr. Howard Wall. And Howard, we know that the federal budget deficit is big, but how big of a problem is this?
Well, last year about 22% of federal spending was financed by borrowing, which drove the national debt past the $30 billion level.
Okay, that's a lot of spending, but people don't really like spending cuts.
Well, if spending isn't cut, taxes need to rise, but the only way to raise enough revenue is with large tax increases on the middle class. These greed-driven taxes on the ultra-wealthy just won't come close to closing the deficit. The public has been happy to kick the budget can down the road, but without making hard choices now, we'll suffer even more painful consequences later.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
Vincent's Jewelers can help you pick the best gift for someone special. Another reason I like Vincent's has helped raise more than $1.5 million for local charities. Vincent's, locally owned, serving the community more than 42 years. Whenever I'm asked, what's your favorite jewelry store? My only jeweler is Vincent's on Olive, east of 270. Give Vincent's a chance to make you happy. Check for daily specials. Vincent's Jewelers Facebook or vincentsjewelers.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil Nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me for the Right Mind Show on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this wacky radio station. You know, and speaking of wacky, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You ready for this, Gabe?
Not really, but I'm primed.
Okay, let me tell you why I'm delaying here for just a second here.
I see smoke coming out of your ears.
It's already, man.
All right.
Go to our video streaming services like Rumble in
Okay.
particular, because we've got a camera on Gabe's mug.
Oh, no.
Well, you said video screaming there first.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That might be accurate.
So I've got a science-y story that's colliding with wokeism.
And you know I wear all of my reactions completely on my face. I can't hide it.
I have not told Gabe what the story is. All right. By the way, how is just blatant anti-Semitism being allowed? I mean, socially and culturally.
Right.
You can't outlaw thought.
Yes.
But how are we allowing it and accepting it, especially on the university and college campuses in our country? And how seriously should we be taking this call to jihad protest that's been made by a Muslim cleric in the Middle East, because he's calling for it around the country? Conversation about that at 8:05, because it has to do with how safe do you feel and how did we get to this point? Let's talk about that just ahead.
Yep.
Okay, so here's where we are here. An anthropological conference in Canada has removed a panel that was going to discuss why biological sex remains necessary for scientific analysis.
They've removed the panel.
Okay, so here's what we have here is Michael Harrington from Town Hall has the brief story.
An anthropological conference in Canada has removed a planned panel discussion about why biological sex remains necessary for scientific analysis. That is, when an anthropologist digs up a skeleton, it's important to identify if it belonged to a man or a woman. Organizers say the mere discussion of the idea that skeletons are either male or female would be damaging to the LGBT community and to the field of anthropology as a whole. Michael Harrington, SRN News.
Shut the front door. Honestly, what? It's one of those things that I learned early on in biology. It's like, oh, you could actually tell the difference between male and female skeletons. Female skeletons have hips that do this and do that because you're trying to accommodate the birth of children. Men have structures like this because it wants to emphasize muscle strength and connect. Blah 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 blah. Those are really cool things that I learned as a kid because it's reality. That's real. That's science. And when you dig up somebody's bones, they tell you whether you're male or female. That's important because, hey, we discovered a site where there's only female bones. That's an interesting thing to discuss in archaeological circles. If now you're saying, well, we can't identify the individuals who are in this, shut up. Absolutely shut up. Not just shut up, but turn in your badge for whatever department that you belong to and your degree and leave. Like honestly, go do something else.
Okay, so there's two aspects of this. One, the fact that they were going to have a panel discussion, which by the way, that's another word for polite debate.
Yes.
They were going to have a panel discussion over whether or not you should still identify skeletons from 1,000 years ago as male or female. The fact that they were even going to have that is ridiculous.
True.
The second is that the fact that they said, "Oh, we can't even do this. We just it's just too much."
It's an affront to the.
It's an affront.
Shut up. Honestly, I mean, this I really want to just flip tables. You know, you know what I mean? Like I want to clear out the temple of science because it used to be a temple of thought and now it's a temple of emotional bullcrap.
Yeah, and I mean the idea that we're going to eliminate basic science.
Basic science.
I mean very basic and important science in order to account for history and study what's happened. I just watched a documentary on the Celts, you know, in Europe and their battles with Rome and all of that sort of thing. And it was some of the evidence that they have cited was very, very crucial of, you know, this person was clearly a soldier, this person was a criminal, look, you know, and they knew some details about him. But what are you going to do? Walk in and say, well, you know, we don't really know. I mean, sure. I mean, this person was probably a soldier, but we're not going to assume any gender. We don't know what their identity was. What if they were non-binary? We just can't pursue that. We don't know because it has to do with family life and culture and everything that goes with it.
Well, that's the other thing, too. We're talking about the departments of archaeology. They're trying to study human cultures from throughout history. How do you discern you know, major aspects of a culture without differentiating the sexes? Gender roles were a thing. They still are, frankly, but they were a significant thing in all cultures.
We've got 1 minute left here.
Yes.
Okay, before we get to the next information segment.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the bigger question. You are in your real world, full-time world, you're a scientist.
Yes.
Now, this isn't the particular field you work in, but you are a scientist.
Right.
You have studied the scientific method.
Yeah.
When you are eliminating basic science from the scientific method in favor of current fads, in this case, the wokeism, what does that say about the future of science and discovery in this country and the world?
We're screwed. I mean, and we kind of have been.
Have more time.
We kind of have been for a while now because, you know, the white coat mafia is out here. They're very much political ideologues. We created a sort of pseudoscientific theology that they operate under as opposed to scientific method, and it's going to lead to really, really bad thing. Watch the bridges you drive over in the future.
Yeah, so we're going to limit human knowledge because we're afraid of a parade and protest.
Oh, gosh.
Mark McCloskey here, and my friend Mike Lindell and his team at MyPillow are having a big sale to celebrate their 20th anniversary and the sale of over 80 million pillows. Mike and his team want to thank everyone by giving you the lowest price in their history. The MyPillow queen-size pillows that are regularly $69.98 are now just $19.98, and for just $10 more, you get a king size. MyPillow's patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs to help you get the best sleep ever. Patty and I have slept on MyPillows for a long time, and we just got our new 2.0 pillows and a set of Giza Dream Sheets, and we love them. Go to MyPillow.com to get queen-size MyPillows for only $19.98 or call 800-645-1392 and use the promo code ONFIRE. In addition to this special anniversary offer on the MyPillows, you will also receive deep discounts on all MyPillow products. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-645-1392 and use the promo code ONFIRE to unlock these savings.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Now on a visit to Israel, Secretary of State Blinken, who says the American death toll in Israel's war with Hamas has risen to 25. 17 other Americans are missing.
I understand on a personal level the harrowing echoes that Hamas's massacres carry for Israeli Jews, indeed, for Jews everywhere.
Blinken has met with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. His British counterpart, Foreign Secretary James Cleverly, is in Israel as well.
Our support to Israel will be driven by their requests, but I was here to let them know that we stand ready to support them as a government, as well as the British nationals here in Israel.
The war's total death toll stands at least 2,500. The House of Representatives remains in limbo, with Republican Steve Scalise apparently lacking the votes needed to be elected Speaker of the House.
Republicans who control the House on Wednesday nominated Scalise to serve as Speaker following last week's historic ouster of Kevin McCarthy, but delayed further action when he appears to be short of the support needed to win a vote of the full chamber. It is unclear when the full House will vote on a speaker. The pause comes down to the fact that Scalise doesn't have the votes to get to 217 right now. At least 8 Republicans have come out against Scalise. That's more than the 4 he can afford to lose. Edwin Mora, Washington.
Social Security recipients can expect a bit more in their checks next year, 3.2% cost of living adjustment for 2024. Word this morning, the Consumer Price Index rose last month, up 0.4%. On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, Dow futures 100 points higher. The NASDAQ futures are up 21 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This is an urgent warning. America is heading for another major financial disaster at an alarming rate. We could see stock prices fall as much as 50%, but this time the crash could be more violent and come faster than you ever imagined. We are Advantage Gold, America's most trusted precious metals company, and we are here to sound the alarm that winter is coming for investors. And now is the time to take actions that may help protect and secure your portfolio with physical precious metals. Want to help protect your hard-earned money before it's too late? Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000 and request our free gold and silver survival kit today. Mention that you heard us on the radio and learn how you could get up to $1,000 in free silver coins. The number is 800-900-8000. Call now to get your free survival kit and see if you qualify for $1,000 in free silver today.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Check with your financial advisor before investing.
Call 800-900-8000.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Dry and mild to get your Thursday rolling, turning warmer and breezy as the day goes on. Plenty of sunshine, though, a high of 81. That's about 10 degrees above normal. South wind at 10 to 20 this afternoon. Tonight, a slow increase in cloud cover as our next storm system approaches, down to 64. Rain and storms likely on Friday, and keep an eye on this. Some of these storms could be on the strong side, a low wind threat of some damaging wind. Friday's high 74 before colder air arrives for the weekend. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
The latest news.
Speaker of the House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
Keeping government open and paying our troops was the right decision.
Matt Gaetz needs to quit being a chaos agent.
The news you need to know.
$33 trillion in debt is chaos. We're competing with the job candidates. They'll do anything. Secretary of something.
There's something dangerous happening in America now. The MAGA movement.
And the place to talk about it.
This has totally got me livid.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Well, all right, this is the time of year to invest in improving your home. And I know you're thinking, no, Mike, that's spring. I mean, we need to be planning on that over the winter, then we do it in the spring. Listen, you can do it right now with my friends at Window World. Mike Ferguson here for Window World. They are simply the best for less. And when I say invest in your home, I am talking about upgrading the performance and the strength of your home with these double strength glass windows. Now, here's a magazine that I'm going to guess you are not subscribed to, and that is called Qualified Remodeler Magazine. I don't read it. I've never read it. I'm never going to read it. But you know who does? The people who work in home construction and who work in home improvements and home renovations. That's who reads that. And they have ranked Window World as the #1 window in the country. Matter of fact, Window World is only one of 2 windows in the world with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. They are so good with that double strength glass. They've got a lifetime warranty covering all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And you say, Mike, I've heard you say that before. Well, because that is crucial, not just for your finances. If those windows get broken, if something happens with those windows, you never have to worry about replacing them. So if you had hail damage, or you've got somebody that throws that rock, or your lawnmower hits that thing that goes through a window, you should look at Window World windows, because you're not going to have to worry about replacing them or paying that bill ever again. 314-993-1800. That is the number to talk to our friends at Window World. And by the way, you're not calling some national call center. You're talking to your friends and your neighbors in Earth City. By the way, Window World has 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit, and they are less expensive than much lower quality, weaker generic windows. So you want to go into the home improvement store, get a price on it? Fine, do it. Then call Window World, get your free in-home estimate, and what you're going to find is that custom cut double strength window is going to cost you less, and it's going to make your home more energy efficient. That's the other part of your home performing better. 314-993-1800. You can also learn more at windowworld.com, but give them a call. Get that free in-home estimate. Let them show you how they are simply the best for less. One more time now, 314-993-1800.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy? Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer. Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
A Muslim cleric who is a co-founder of Hamas puts out basically a call for jihad. His words.
Mm-hmm.
He said for a financial jihad and also calling for a day of action tomorrow against Israel in the Middle East and also around the world. He's asking for money. He's asking for demonstrations. He's asking, frankly, for attacks. He's asking for people to die.
Yes.
On behalf of the Palestinian cause, on behalf
Celebrate the martyrs.
of the, yeah, precisely. And so we've got the question of how seriously should we take this as far as his threats go. But the bigger question is, how did we even get here at this point? How did we actually get here? And I think it's important to talk about that so we can also address what we do about it. All right, there's a book out there called it's called Woke Anti-Semitism: How a Progressive Ideology Harms Jews. As a matter of fact, I did an interview with the author, David Bernstein, who joins us right now. And if you want to hear that discussion, which was done months ago before any of this ever happened, you can go to the American Viewpoints podcast and hear that discussion as well. David is the founder of the Jewish Institute for Liberal Values. And once again, the book, Woke Anti-Semitism: How a Progressive Ideology Harms Jews. And David, appreciate you being on the program here. Let me start with the foundational question. After Hamas launches this attack into Israel, even as we are getting the descriptions and the evidence of the atrocities, much of that evidence put out on social media by Hamas, who is bragging about their atrocities, we see a reaction among college campuses, other places around the country, protesting in support, demonstrating in support of those who committed the atrocities against Israel and against the Jewish people. How in the world do we get to a point where thousands of people see what they're doing and still say, yes, those are the people that we're going to support? Because they're generally happening in very left-leaning, left-wing environments.
Mike, I have to tell you, it is absolutely shocking and appalling. Imagine, by the way, you're an American Jew who has a lot of family in Israel, like I do, has a lot of friends in Israel, who has deep ties to Israel, and you're hearing about all this. You're worried about your family. You're in contact with them on WhatsApp. You're watching what's going on. You're hearing about these atrocities. And then on the home front, where you live in your own community, where you send your kid to college, the university president either issues no statement after they've issued statements on any number of issues, and or they issue some mealy-mouthed statement that says nothing. And then you're watching campus groups like you had at Harvard actually justify the murder. Or in the case of K through 12 education, you have these people who are designing curricula for kids in California and other states, ethnic studies professors and teachers and the like, that are justifying mass murder, that are sharing memes of Hamas guys, terrorists, on gliders on their way to massacre Israelis, and they're celebrating. So to me, this is appalling. Now, you asked the question, how do we get here? We got here because people didn't do anything when universities started to become platforms for ideological extremism and not teaching critical thought. That's how we got here. We got here while a lot of people, a lot of board members and trustees did nothing while their universities became captured by a bunch of ideologues. And now we're paying the price for that. So I hope this creates the kind of backlash that needs to happen to get our universities back on course, because we're sort of reaping the fruit of what we've sowed over many, many years.
Good morning, David. Gabe here. I've seen also some interesting reactions from people who are typically on the left, of Jewish descent or have family in Israel, and they are seeing these their ideological bedfellows essentially kind of rise up against them, and they seem shocked by it. Even though we've been telling them about it forever. Do you think there's going to be any serious self-reflection about where those ideologies that they subscribe to, can lead to this sort of anti-Semitism, or do you think it's kind of a flash of understanding and then it's going to go back to business as usual?
It remains to be seen. It really does remain to be seen. That's exactly the right question. I've been screaming from the rooftop, guys, we have a problem here. There's an ideology that neatly divides the world into oppressed and oppressors. And because Jews are perceived as a successful community in the United States and Israel is perceived as a successful country, they're being lumped in as an oppressor. And this is a problem for us. And I've been saying it over and over. And some people have actually prevented me from coming to speak in their Jewish communities because they think that somehow this view that I think is pretty widely accepted by a lot of people is beyond the pale. And so now I'm going to go back and say, are you still telling me that this came from nowhere, that what the Harvard students did or what you're seeing at Penn and what you're seeing at all these other colleges, this came from nowhere? There's no ideological underpinnings. There's nothing to be concerned of here. It's like they're just focused on the symptoms of it rather than the underlying root causes of this, which is really this ideological framework which is caught on. So I'm going to challenge our community. I'm not going to be the only one who challenges our community, and we'll see if we can do a reckoning. If we can do an internal reckoning and start to understand the implications of this ideological moment.
Good morning, David. Stal Ponticus here. Speaking of academia and the universities, many of them have a large contingent of foreign students from the Middle East. Does that concern you over the near future?
Listen, there's foreign students here. People come to this country because we have some of the best universities in the world, or we did at least. And some of them are not studying, the humanities, they're studying engineering and sciences and the like. So not necessarily that they're foreign students, but that we're providing. Look, if there was a culture at universities that was open and liberal in the classical sense, if there was a culture in universities that absolutely frowned upon this kind of radicalism, then I wouldn't really worry that much that there might also be some radical Muslim students in their ranks that have privately extreme views because they're not going to be accentuated. What we've seen here is a culture at these universities that platforms these radicals. And that's the problem I'm having right now. And I think that's what we got to push back on.
We are visiting with David Bernstein. He's the author of the book, Woke Anti-Semitism, How a Progressive Ideology Harms Jews. He's also the founder of the Jewish Institute for Liberal Values, which is at jilv.org. Okay, David, just in the past, 48 hours or so, one of the founders of Hamas, and he's looked at as a Muslim's cleric, calling for a day of action against Israel, a day of action against her supporters. Basically, he's his words calling for a jihad against Israel, both physically in the area, but he's calling for supporters to take some kind of action literally all over the world. How seriously should we take this as an immediate threat, and what type of actions could this lead to in the longer term?
Yeah, so Jewish organizations are all going to be on high alert. All the police departments in an area are going to be brought into it. There's going to be doubling down of security. Last night I spoke in Orlando, Florida about these very issues, and there were 5 of the largest, most threatening-looking police officers I've ever seen, that were thoroughly doing security there. So I felt a lot safer because of that. But I have to say, you mentioned, Hamas. Hamas is entrenched right now in the country of Qatar, right? which just hosted the World Cup in soccer. And they're a cherished ally of the United States lately. They've been treated as such while they're harboring Hamas terrorists. So I think the United States is going to have to ask itself, why is it that we see Qatar as such a great ally when they're financially backing Hamas and they're harboring Hamas terrorists who from Qatar are making these announcements about days of rage and threatening American and diaspora Jewish communities worldwide.
All right, David, we really hope for the best for your friends and your family who are in Israel right now, and hopefully they can be safe if they're there fighting. Hopefully they can be successful if they're trying to get back. I hope that they get back safely, David. I'm not even going to pretend to imagine what that's like for you right now.
It has been an excruciating few days, and we really appreciate the support from so many of our fellow Americans. I told you about this cop last night, and these cops that were there last night. One of them said to me, I had 4 tours of duty in Afghanistan, and I feel like this is the most important thing I've ever done. So, it means a lot when we hear those things, and I thank you so much for hearing us out.
Absolutely. All right. Once again, the book is called Woke Anti-Semitism, How a Progressive Ideology Harms Jews, and it was written by David Bernstein. David, thanks so much for the time and the perspective here.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Something about... We've always had hate in this country. Mm-hmm. We will always have hate in this country. We will always have division. We will always have conflict.
So long as they're humans.
As long as they're human. But there is something about anti-Semitism and attacks on the Jewish people that is a constant throughout human history.
Yeah. I think there are reasons for that, but we don't want to get particularly religious and biblical.
Correct. Not right now.
Not right now. Maybe
but
later.
That is a constant thing that has gone beyond theology. But that's just a constant that we have. All right, just ahead, we'll bring you up to date on a lot of stuff happening around the area. You got some thoughts on this? Let's hear it. 314-912-1019.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
St. Louis City, get ready to make history. Your City, Your Voice Town Hall is here, and it's more than you've ever seen before. Imagine this, Attorney General Andrew Bailey and Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft in person, side by side, hearing your concerns, taking on your burning questions. It's October 12th. Rally your neighbors, come and ask the questions that keep you awake at night. Visit stlouisrepublicans.com for details.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
We all know the healthcare system's broken. It's not about you. It's about the code, the bill, the 7-minute appointment. Hi, it's Dr. Randy Tobler, and I've developed a better way that restores old-fashioned values with a holistic approach to your healthcare. That means affordable, available, no copay or deductible primary care. And with my 30-plus years as an OBGYN, there's added value for women and couples. Whether it's a new or nagging problem, you need a second look at a troubling diagnosis, or simply want a trusting, relationship-based healthcare experience, give us a look at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Our mission is to provide exceptional, accessible, and truly affordable care where the focus is on you, not insurance denial and cookbook medicine experts. And with your membership, there's a number of perks, including hundreds of free meds, in-office ultrasound, common diagnostic tests, and more. Interested in seeing me or learning more about healthcare the way it ought to be? Schedule an appointment or a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of statistics, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/primetime and use code PRIMETIME. That's code PRIMETIME at prizepicks.com/primetime for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. Make sure you join me and my buddy Chris Arps this afternoon from 4 until 6 p.m. right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Right now, let's get back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Little Pet Shop Boys here.
West End Girls.
Yeah. You know, for the synthesizer songs, that was a pretty good song.
And immediately your mind goes back to MTV days.
Yep.
This had a really good video.
Yeah, it was a very cool video. All right, GOP caucus picks a new speaker, but a small number of holdouts is blocking a vote to actually make it happen.
Yeah.
So stupid.
They picked, but they didn't pick.
Yeah. Oh, man. Let's see here. What else is going on? There's a situation involving J.B. Pritzker. Somebody being really mad at him. And I actually am going to criticize the person who was mad at J.B. Pritzker.
Really?
Yeah,
That's weird.
This is weird here.
Okay.
But there's an interesting spin to the story.
Big interesting spin. You know which one I'm talking about.
I think so.
All right, 8:23 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. Okay, so the war between Israel and Hamas as Israel defends itself against their unprovoked attacks continues. At this point, between Israelis and Palestinians, about 2,100 people have been killed. That number is probably higher than that at this point because shelling is going on right now in a big way. Israel is preparing for a ground war.
Yeah.
And I'm not using the word war lightly, but they have declared war, and they have made it very, very clear, as long as we are not safe, we are going to kill people and blow stuff up until we are safe.
Yes.
They are not messing around. So the spokesperson for Israel's prime minister, her name is Tal Heinrich. She was on the story with Martha McCallum on Fox, and here's what she said we can look ahead to as far as the outcome of the war.
They will pay a very heavy price, a price that will reverberate in the near future and will be remembered by the next generations. They will not try us again after we're done with this operation. And the Prime Minister has said it will take as long as it takes.
Okay, so one thing to keep in mind here, the reason I chose that soundbite, Gabe, is because in another week or two or a month or two, or if this takes 2 or 3 months or whatever it takes, where it's going to appear to the world and the UN's going to be wringing its hands and the media is going to be trying to tell sob stories of Palestine. When they say, basically, you are punching somebody who's already been knocked out. You have won. You need to back off. You need to be humane.
Moderation.
You need to, you need to come to the negotiating table.
De-escalate.
All of this sort of thing. Israel has made it very, very, very clear that they are going to win by eliminating the enemy. They're not interested in a proportional response. They're not interested in pushing back enough to reclaim their safety for the moment. They've made it very clear, you started this, we're going to end it by ending you. And we need to remember in the weeks and months ahead, when the media turns against Israel, which they will, they're starting to already, that this is why they are engaging in what the media is going to call overkill, what the so-called experts and academia are going to call overkill. And I don't think overkill is possible when it comes to their enemies right now.
Yeah, and I think there's a misunderstanding of what proportional response is. It isn't so much that, you shot 3 of our guys, so we're going to shoot 3 of your guys. That's not proportional response. Proportional response is you use only enough force necessary to remove the threat. Now, here's a problem. Basically, Hamas has made the Gaza Strip in its entirety a threat. So that's really what the conundrum is. A proportional response then is to suppress all of the Gaza Strip
and take it.
Just
take it.
Yes, absolutely.
And then if you want to call it occupying, okay,
yes,
whatever.
Yes,
then occupy it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what happens in war. It's almost as though like we as humans forgot how wars go. You know what I mean? Somewhere in between World War II and current day, we forgot what war is about. War is about taking territory, taking over stuff, and telling the people who lost what to do afterwards. That's literally what war is about.
Yeah, this isn't we have more points on the board afterwards, so therefore we get a bigger party.
Yeah.
This is survival
Yes.
for an entire nation. This is survival for a people. And I'm actually relieved to see that they have made it very clear we're not done when we just push you back, because they've basically pushed the people out of the Gaza Strip already.
Yeah.
Now, what they're going to worry about are all the cockroaches of Hamas and other terrorist organizations that are going to be infiltrating. So that's what the ground war is going to look like. And just be prepared, everybody, for the narrative to quickly change in the media. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
All right, here in the U.S., the House Republican caucus picks a speaker, but true to GOP form, a handful of holdouts is stopping Steve Scalise from being formally elected.
You had one job.
Yeah, he needs 217 votes. There are 221 Republicans, and he is now dealing with at least 7 who are holding things up, so they're not going to take the vote they're not going to start the votes until they've got enough to have a majority and actually elect a speaker.
It's kind of like they have a crossing guard standing there going, wait a minute, no, you guys can't go any further. Hold on, we have to discuss this a little bit more.
No, worse yet, it's like they have one of those hall monitor kids who's tripping on the power of his little vest. And he's like, no, you can't go to the bathroom.
So here's the thing is we knew that it was between Jim Jordan and Steve Scalise. They held the vote. Jim Jordan lost to Steve Scalise, and then Jim Jordan turns around and he says this.
It's a critical time for the House of Representatives to get back in session, to have a Speaker of the House. So it's important we're back functioning as a House of Representatives. We need a Speaker, and Steve is the guy for that.
So Jim Jordan says, I ran, I lost. Now we need to unify and get a speaker in place so that we can actually do Republican stuff and push back against the Biden administration. Jim Jordan's doing the right thing.
Yes.
Why won't these holdouts? I mean, you had your chance to make the case against Steve Scalise. Both of them are conservative. I'm fine with either one of them. And it's just really irritating at this point that you've got people that for whatever reasons unbeknownst to the rest of us, are stopping the pushback against the Biden administration to its full potential.
Yeah, I think we talked about how the democratic process is ugly, right? It can get kind of messed up, but on at some point though, you have to take the hot dog making process behind the to the back, right? So. You go into your back room, you scream at each other, you yell, you get your emotions, validated. It's like, I'm so angry at this thing. Yeah, yes, that's great. Okay. But then when you make the decision, you come out of the room, and like I said before, you hold hands and you say, okay, we're behind this guy. Let's get to the business of governing.
And then hash out and fight over the issues and the policies and the bills that
individually.
But have it in place so that you can move forward somehow.
Yeah.
Even if you're going to fight over the bills, which great.
Yeah, that's
I don't
fine.
want anybody to be in trouble. I don't want the speaker telling everybody, okay, you will vote yes for this, but if you don't like it, then fight for it then.
Yeah, we don't want the Borg, but come on, just stand together for a second.
Republicans gonna Republican, man.
Yeah.
Okay, United Auto Workers Union orders its workers off the job at another plant. Yep, this time it's in Kentucky, where the F-Series pickup trucks are made. That's about 8,700 workers.
Oh, boy.
The almost month-long strike now, which, by the way, everybody's forgotten about for the most part.
Yeah, it's kind of fallen off the radar.
It's fallen off the radar. So now that strike is involving about 34,000 workers, in addition to the thousands of workers who have been laid off as victims of those shutdowns. And among the demands, just to remind everybody, Gabe, among the demands made by the union, massive raises, workloads reduced to part-time hours, and guaranteed pension and health benefits for members for life.
So they're still hanging on to this thing.
Yeah, and of course, the Ford and some of the others are saying, listen, we'll move the electric vehicle manufacturing plants under union shops. I mean, we'll give you more workers. and the union is basically saying, you're not giving us everything we want. We're going to shut you down.
This is wild.
Yeah.
It is crazy what they're asking for and the fact that they won't budge on it. That's the thing. Like, okay, you know what? Sometimes you walk into a negotiation, you ask for the friggin' moon. Okay, that's a good starting point, I guess, if you're going to whittle your way down to the middle. But they're not moving at all, which is weird.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, and they want guarantees, lifetime guarantees for the workers displaced by the electric vehicle manufacturing.
No.
Yeah. So it's just ridiculous at this point. Okay. Now, we all know that I don't like Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Oh,
right?
gosh.
We all get that, right?
Get in line. Get in line.
Get in line. But there's a right way and a wrong way to make your displeasure known.
Mm-hmm.
A 38-year-old man now faces charges after throwing rocks at one of Pritzker's mansions in the Chicago area.
Oh, boy.
Police say Adam DeBosch broke 3 windows. And by the way, the governor and the first lady were there at the time.
Oh, my gosh.
So they're in their home, and rocks are coming through windows, and windows are breaking. Per Illinois law, by the way.
Here's the twist.
Yeah. DeBosch has been released because Illinois law doesn't let you hold the criminals suspects anymore.
Okay. All right. It's like, I'll take that one.
So he's out on the street right now. The guy who literally went to the governor's mansion to throw rocks at the governor.
Wow.
And they charged him. But they had to let him go.
Oh, the irony.
Yes. Couple sports notes real quick here. The American League Championship Series now set. Astros are back in after their 3-2 win over Minnesota last night. In the National League, the Diamondbacks completed the sweep of the Dodgers 4-2 to advance to the League Championship Series. The Snakes are going to play either the Braves or the Phillies. Philly currently leads that series 2-1. Also, Blues season starts tonight.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yes.
Hockey's back.
They are starting on the road. They play the Dallas Stars. Puck drops at 7 o'clock. We will have cautious optimism for the season.
I know one lady who's really, really excited about the return of hockey season.
There you go. Would you happen to be married to her?
I think I'm married to her.
She was up all night, I bet, waiting.
Yeah. Oh, man. She has an app on her phone so she can watch their Maple Leafs game.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's dedication.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. All right, just ahead. Teachers saying, hey, leave my social media stuff alone, man. I should be able to teach no matter what I do on social media. Is that really the case?
Not entirely.
Yeah, we're not just talking about the OnlyFans chick.
Okay.
All right, we'll talk. I'll let you know what I'm talking about here right around 8:36 on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
Too many shadows, whispering voices, faces on posters, too many choices. If, when, why, what, how much have you got? Have you got
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
which you choose, a hard or soft option?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Dry and mild to get your Thursday rolling, turning warmer and breezy as the day goes on. Plenty of sunshine, though, a high of 81. That's about 10 degrees above normal. South wind at 10 to 20 this afternoon. Tonight, a slow increase in cloud cover as our next storm system approaches, down to 64. Rain and storms likely on Friday, and keep an eye on this. Some of these storms could be on the strong side, a low-end threat of some damaging wind. Friday's high 74 before colder air arrives for the weekend. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Fox News commentary.
Tens of thousands of special interest aliens from Middle Eastern countries known to harbor terrorism have been apprehended illegally crossing our southern border in the last 2 years. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Wants you to believe the millions of unvetted illegal immigrants who have invaded our nation in the last couple of years are all just here for work and a better life. That notion is naive, especially considering internal CBP data shows thousands of special interest aliens from mostly Middle Eastern countries known to harbor terrorism have been apprehended by Border Patrol. Imagine how many have slipped under the radar. There is little to no way to properly vet the people coming across our border, by the way, unless they have committed a crime in the United United States or are on a federal watch list, there is really no way of knowing who they are or why they are here. The writing is on the wall, and some of our fellow Americans are simply pretending they can't read. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote and accelerate the development of quality Christ-centered K-12 education.
Hi, this is Daryl Jones, president of the Herzog Foundation. We have an exciting new training opportunity available for public school and Christian school teachers. The Herzog Foundation Institute has partnered with the Bill of Rights Institute to offer 4 training events in 4 Missouri cities this year. These day-long professional development opportunities are best suited for middle and high school civics, government, U.S. history, and social studies teachers. Middle and high school teachers have a unique opportunity to strengthen civic knowledge and values for the next generation. We want to help teachers seize this opportunity.
Visit herzogfoundation.com/events to learn more and register for a Bill of Rights Institute training event near you. herzogfoundation.com/events. herzogfoundation.com/events.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and SouthernArmory.com. That's SouthernArmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at SouthernArmory.com.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what isn't.
Right here.
The country is heading in the wrong direction under this president. We're suffering shortages. America's running out of everything.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Dan Bongino here. Keep it on News Talk STL because my show starts at 11 a.m. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Sammy Hagar.
Mm-hmm. Your love's driving me crazy.
Great. Okay, teachers and social media.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot there.
There's a lot there, and it happens a lot. Okay, we talked earlier about the woman in Southwest Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
She quit after being discovered that she was doing online porn.
Yep.
And, of course, we kind of lamented the cultural aspect of how many people were rushing to her defense.
Mm-hmm.
This has nothing to do with her job as teaching high school boys.
Private.
Really? Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But what about other things? For instance, in just outside Kansas City, there's a town called Olathe, Kansas, which is in Johnson County, which is a very kind of ritzy, wealthy part of the Kansas City metro.
Mm-hmm.
And I found this on WDAF television's website here. Teacher named Stephen Taylor. He is at an alternative school in Olathe, Kansas, and he's got a side job as a stand-up comedian.
Okay.
Okay, which fine.
Yeah, that's cool.
No issue there. But the school district is not on board with his jokes here.
Oh, is
Right.
that what it is?
Yeah, so he is quoted by WDAF as saying that he was fired for posting videos on TikTok. Okay, so few quotes here that I
Okay.
want to bring up,
All
and,
right.
and I'm being open-minded here.
Okay.
He's quoted as saying, "The reason I'm doing comedy on TikTok is to make money because the school only pays me $45,000 a year and I work all the time." Okay, so first of all, $45,000 a year in the Midwest is a very reasonable salary.
Yeah, for
especially if you
9
don't
months
have,
a year.
Yeah, you don't have any tenure at all. So, okay, but listen, you knew what you were signing up for when you went in there. Now,
Yeah.
if you're mad about the union taking too much money, okay, then that's a complaint with them. But saying that I only make $45,000 a year isn't something that makes me cry crocodile tears here.
Mm-hmm.
So a series of videos at the beginning of the school year had him kind of answering questions. For instance, he was making a joke about farting on students who doesn't like him when he walks by. And so they literally said, we saw you talking about this on these videos. Do you actually do this?
Right. And he answered, no.
I would hope,
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
He's like, no, that's a joke. Because we joke about fake situations at work.
Crop dusting people. Yeah,
Exactly.
And it's the series of videos, got him on the radar, basically.
Okay.
He claimed to crop dust the students, So even if he doesn't do it, it's a joke. It's not very classy, but you know what? That's not like...
That's comedy. I mean, it's not for everybody.
Yeah. He's quoted as saying, I tell my students the wrong thing all the time when they annoy me. I tell them Abraham Lincoln invented the car. That's why it's named after him. He said in one of his stand-up videos.
That's funny.
That's funny.
That's funny right there. I don't care who you are.
Well, he got in trouble. He got in trouble for that one.
Really?
He was told to take the videos down.
Okay.
And he said, show me your social media policy.
Yeah.
Basically, now he's pushing back.
Yeah.
Okay. The district, obviously, they're not going to comment on anybody per individually, but their social media policy for faculty and staff says that the faculty or staff is to maintain, and I'm quoting here, the same level of personal responsibility, discretion, and professionalism expected in any other form or communication. So Taylor, in response to this, Taylor is quoted as saying, they don't understand it. The social media policies are designed for MySpace. They are years behind where we are.
Yes. he is a comedian.
Yeah, they are years behind where we are currently at in this world, which is TikTok is alive and well. Everybody is on it. So he's basically like, you guys don't understand TikTok.
I mean, that's a little much. But actually, I don't think that his, what he's doing runs afoul of the policy. Because here's the thing: if you are in class and you tell a joke that's clearly a joke, and it involves something that may or may not be true.
Right.
That's within, I would imagine that should be within, normal conduct of individuals in the classroom, right? So that should apply to somebody whose sole purpose of being on the stage at that moment is to tell jokes.
Yeah, he says that his TikToks and the jokes that he tells the students are just jokes.
Yeah.
He's like, they're jokes. And he added that, and I'm reading from the article, he added that he was sure his students understood that, but he has had to post a video to them to say he's sorry that he's not their teacher anymore. So get this. He's quoted as saying, it's the thing I feel the worst about is the students are the ones suffering, and I know deep down there's nothing I could have done besides sacrifice all my values and delete the videos and never make another TikTok. So basically he's like, I had to choose between these students I say I love so much and TikTok, and I chose TikTok.
Yeah,
and it's
now that's
so
a little
sad.
That's a little disingenuous.
So it sounds like an arrogant guy.
I mean, look, and here's the thing too: if the comedy is your side hustle, as opposed to your main job, you also need to put that into consideration. I mean, if my job suddenly had changed its policies and I couldn't do this, I couldn't do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I love you.
I know,
I love you, but the rocket science pays the bills.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. But I would also think the policies would be stupid. But
Right.
I can make my protest from the position of being an employee.
Right. So, with this one, there's nothing in the story that says he was making grotesque jokes.
Yeah.
There's nothing that he was, and even, he's not making, racist jokes or anything like that.
Yeah.
But even if he did, would that be a reason for the school district to fire him?
I suppose there are limitations.
Yeah.
I don't know where the line is, though.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of the fuzzy thing about these the essentially moral clauses that go into certain professions, right? It's like, you have to maintain this level of moral fortitude or what have you in properly representing the organization that you're employed by, and that is a fuzzy thing, I think, intentionally, because the line is so malleable.
I'm reading between the lines, and the guy strikes me just from this article, and I may be completely wrong, but he strikes me as kind of an entitled whiner, is the way. But that doesn't change the fact that it looks like, based on what we know, that the school district probably jumped the gun. Because if there were, and they can't talk about like the individual things, but the media folks, they were looking through the TikTok videos. They watched them themselves.
Sure.
They didn't mention, anything explicit. They didn't mention anything that, is, pro-racism or pro-violence.
He didn't talk about grooming kids like all the teachers you see on Libs of TikTok.
No, but if he did that, the teachers union would defend him.
Yeah.
And the school district would probably applaud him
Mm-hmm.
if he started grooming kids or making fun of conservatives or bashing conservatives. He'd probably be protected by the school district at that point. But he's talking about, doing stupid juvenile sophomoric stuff.
Seriously. I mean, and it seems so innocuous. Like I haven't heard anything. I have heard some people make teacher jokes that are like, whoa, wildly inappropriate. It's like, I hope you're not actually a teacher. Like some guy talking about how good the high school girls look.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like I've heard those kind of jokes, and I'm like, whoa. I hope that's not actually a teacher. This isn't the case here. He's talking about crop dust in the kids.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, and he got called into the office for that.
It's like really? I'm in here because of a fart joke?
Yeah.
You called HR because of a fart joke?
Yeah.
Go to the principal's office.
Yeah.
I'm in the principal's office for a fart joke.
So he's now booked 30 different gigs. He's calling it his comedy mini tour. He's calling it the Teacher Shortage Tour.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what? This attention is probably going to help him.
It probably will.
Yeah, his comedy career. I don't know if he's gonna end up with a Netflix special out of it, but we'll see.
But here's the thing: when it comes to the argument, like for instance with the woman we were talking about earlier, people are arguing the school district has absolutely no business worrying about what they do after they leave work, and I do disagree with that to some degree, a degree.
Yeah,
I mean, actually. Now, I think the standard should be, is this going to affect what happens in the classroom? Okay? So like the other woman, she's doing porn.
Yes.
And it became public. That absolutely affects what's happening in the classroom full of 17 and 18-year-olds, 16, 17, 8-year-olds. And, while somebody would say, well, school districts aren't in the business of deciding which morals we should be teaching or not teaching.
Yes,
they are.
Yes, de facto.
They are providing. Yeah, they're picking the morals that we don't like.
That's what we're arguing about, guys.
Yeah.
See, and I thought the guy would have called it the Gaslight Tour.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
But I guess not.
That would work.
No.
He's not that clever, I guess. That comedy career is not going that far.
But it's more evidence that public education is just a complete mess.
Yeah, it's a crap show.
If you are working in a warehouse and your job is to drive a forklift, highly skilled work, it's important to our economy and you're important to your company, and you decide to do whatever on the side, if it's legal, they should leave you alone.
Yes.
Because you're not out there in the public eye and you're not,
influencing our children.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jeez. All right, 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Hey, I'd like you to get to know Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer. Those are dentists and my dental team, along with their dental team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles. Whether it's economic value with their dental savings plan and their real concern about giving you value, which is, of course, quality at a great price, or whether it's their personal values, their dedication to absolute precision. I can tell you when I go in and get my treatment there, or just a cleaning, whatever, it's always, I get this feeling it's like laser-guided precision. Well, yeah, they have lasers, but they don't do that for everything, of course. It's the right tool for the right job. Whether it is dental implants, whether it's just general dentistry, cosmetic dentistry, and by the way, he can use some Botox in all the right ways for those applications as well. You'll find the greatest of care, the greatest value, delivered with people who have real values, the values we share at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles. Get to know them by calling 636-978-0226, 636-978-0226, or advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey guys, Columbo here, reminding you that if you belong to an organization like a school or a church, or your kids are part of a group or a sports team that needs to raise money, there's no better way to do so than with a TJ's Pizza fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
Columbo and Katie.
Got a jam-packed Thursday with the latest details on the Middle East and Speaker of the House, plus Representative Justin Sparks at 2:20, Dr. Randy Tobler at 3, and George Rosenthal at 3:25.
Weekdays at 2
on News Talk STL.
Dan Bongino here. Keep it on News Talk STL because my show starts at 11 a.m. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Little Santana here.
Actually, Steely Dan.
Oh, I
Do it again.
thought this was Black Magic Woman.
No.
They sound very similar.
A little bit.
Oh, yeah,
there.
that intro, yeah.
With the bongos at the
beginning.
beginning.
Okay, all right. Reminder, there is a town hall meeting tonight. The St. Louis City Republicans are putting this on, and Attorney General Andrew Bailey is going to be there. Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft is going to be there. David Stokes from the Show Me Institute is going to be there. It's being moderated by our very own Chris Harps. That starts at, I believe that was 6:30, right, Gabe? You've got the flyer on your end down there.
I believe so.
Is that right?
Doors open at 6?
Doors open at 6:30 to 7:30.
Okay, the parking is
Street.
somewhat limited there. You're going to be on the street probably. If you get there before 6, you might get a parking spot on the side of the building. It's at the St. Louis Police Officers Association building on Hampton.
Is that 3710 Hampton?
3710
Yep.
Hampton, that's right.
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting. They do have plenty of room there, so don't worry about being crowded out there. But, you know, just the earlier you get there, the better parking spot you're going to get.
Also, you get to submit questions
Yes.
when you come early, so there you go.
Yep. So look up St. Louis City Republicans, and you can print out the address or type it into your phone or whatever if you want to learn more about that.
Yep.
All right, it is 8:53 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe here. Got Stell here. I think my wife was rolling her eyes at me yesterday.
Oh, why is that?
Okay, so here's what happened is, you know, I get home, and after a little bit, I'm like, "Have you seen Rosie, our cat?" And she said,
Yeah.
"Well, I saw Rosie this
Okay.
morning. I didn't, really worry about it. Rachel works from home when she's in town." And after a little bit, I'm getting ready to go upstairs. It's a few hours later, and I'm getting ready to, do my workout. I look around. I'm like, I don't see Rosie anywhere.
Oh, boy.
And I'm thinking, where's the cat? And she's like, that's fine. She's around here somewhere. And I'm thinking, that's really weird because Rosie usually follows me around, in the house. And so I look everywhere upstairs. I'm looking in all the closets. I'm looking under the bed, and I don't see the cat anywhere.
Oh, boy.
And then I go downstairs and I look around I don't see the cat. And I go down in the basement, and I thought I looked everywhere. And I go through all the different rooms. I look under the stairs. I don't see it. I'm like, Rachel said, I don't see the cat. I think the cat might have gotten out.
You look outside and your car's gone.
Yeah, really.
It's Toonces. No,
Oh,
Toonces
that's
the
right.
driving cat.
Yes. And so I'm looking around here, and I'm like, because we got her from the rescue place, thing, and she doesn't have claws on her front feet.
Yeah.
She's not going to last 12 hours outside.
Yeah, she's not built for outside.
No, she's an indoor cat. And I got to tell you how surprised I was is how upset I was when it I'm trying to play it cool, and Rachel's like, well, maybe she'll come back. And I'm like, I don't think she'll make it. She's not going to make it that long out on her own. And so I'm trying to not let on that I'm
Not
really-
freak
but
out.
I was surprised, guys, that I was really upset
Aw.
that I could not find the cat.
Yeah.
And eventually, she comes downstairs and we're looking through the basement, and then I hear her go, "Oh, here she is." And I turned around, and wherever she was hiding, she came out and was just staring at us. And still to this moment, I have no clue where that cat was hiding. I have no idea where she was.
Rosie's thinking, what's the problem?
Right. And she's like, yeah, what do you guys like? What's all this activity? What are you doing?
I've done that circle around the house and in the basement. I've done that before looking for my cat Sassy. Now she's a tuxedo cat, black and white.
Yeah.
So the thing is, when she lays down and she puts her head down, she's basically an all black cat.
Okay.
So she can be anywhere, fit in any corner, and unless I know exactly where she is, if she doesn't want to be found, I cannot find her.
But that's unusual with our cat because, again, wherever I go,
she's a follower. Right?
She's not a lap cat, but she's a follower.
Yes.
So she wants to be near me. She doesn't really want to be on me.
Yes.
Now my wife sits down and she wants to be all over Rachel.
Oh, yeah, same.
I'm the one that feeds the cat. I'm the one that feeds it. I'm the one that plays with her. But fine, she likes Rachel better.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I don't.
You're not upset about that, right?
No, not bitter at all. The weird part is like how upset I was there for a second when I really thought she had gotten out and she was gone.
Yeah, you
like
weren't.
It's a cat.
You weren't expecting that emotional response.
Yeah, I mean it's a cat. You know, it's like if you want a cat, go get another cat. But I was actually really upset.
Oh yeah, I mean I think your love of critters goes deeper than you expect.
I do like animals.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I was worried about that hawk the other day.
Yeah, exactly.
That we found,
that whole thing.
If you want to see that, just go to our social media. I had an up close and personal encounter with a wild hawk that got stuck somewhere, and we were trying to get it out, which we did.
Yes,
which we did as well.
An identified flying object.
Yeah. The other thing about Rosie is she suddenly doesn't like her treats anymore. Like she would beg for them, and then I'd put them down. She'd walk away. Is there anything I can do about that, Gabe?
No, not for the treats you have, but you can get new treats.
Where can I get new treats, Gabe?
Pawfactory.co.
That's pawfactory.co?
.co. Pawfactory.co.
That's good advice, Gabe.
I love you.
Wow, that was my reaction when I walked into Napoli C, now open on the streets of St. Charles, right next door to Napoli 3. And Napoli C